And welcome back. Apologies for the slight delay in the opening match this evening. Myself and Glenn Durran in the hot seats. Who do you fancy for this one, pal?
Be interesting to see because what the delay has done for these two players, because both of them were dying to get up there. I could see them both there. So that just that half-an-hour break. I mean, you've got the most rhythmical player in Danny. I mean, anything can happen with this guy. I've seen him average 110. I've seen him average 60. And Lee's a lovely story. Lee's someone who came this week with absolutely no confidence whatsoever. So I can sort of relate to him a little bit right now, and I'm really pleased for him.
Yeah, he had a tough day Tuesday, didn't he? Nothing could go right. And you know, again, you read a lot about what people say, but I've watched him play a lot when it was in Southampton. And on occasion, I've seen some stuff that tells me this guy's got a high ceiling. He's
the captain of London, and he said he's playing at 60% right now. But this could be the catalyst for him to sort of kick in now. And he's the one with a decent crowd there with him now. But this guy there, them two darts, sort of explains everything what I'm saying. This guy can hit the plumber's treble 20, then he'll go a 1. So difficult one to read.
He is a first dart merchant, though. If the first one finds the treble, he does tend to follow with at least one. But when he's moving around the board, that's where all fast throwers are the same, though.
Alex Small. But what Alex Small did this week was he heard our commentary and tried to slow down on the third one. I said, go back to home, go and have a little practice and do that. So,
well, it is their 4th meeting this week. Of course, they both played
44.
No, sorry, they don't. This isn't. There's their 4th meeting in total. They played Phase 6, Week 4, Group A.
34.
And Danny Lauby won 2 of their 3 meetings.
I think what's noticeable there, Chris, is the fact that the averages, none of them over 85 each time they're playing. And sometimes styles, you know, you look for that dance partner, and sometimes styles just don't work, but they've never really played well
100. And he requires
so this could be a huge scrap, but it feels like it's knockout darts now.
Yeah.
It's not like you can lose a game and you're back in. This Saturday night does feel a little bit different.
65.
Well, he's left tops with Lee Cox way back on 216.
Danny require 40. Game shot in the first level. Danny Lauby.
That will really settle Danny down. It sounds like he's got some people in there supporting him, and that was one of the problems with having an American who's travelled 4,000 miles in the 6-man team as well. So we were hoping that Arron was going to be bringing a horde of his friends and family, so that would have made the atmosphere in there ideal for someone like Arron. But Danny will be delighted with that.
100.
That's not the best of darts there for Lee. That's with the way it sits under, the way his darts sort of sit up, just ideally above the treble 20. But this is what Danny's all about, that first dart.
140.
He's just a real first dart merchant, and the first one goes in. Usually the others will follow. Beautiful rhythm to him, and it was great chatting with him. Very shy, very reserved. He said he hasn't travelled 4,000 miles without coming to do some damage this week, and loving the experience.
121.
Yeah, it's a long way to come.
And he requires 140.
Although I wasn't there, I've done a bit of digging, and I can remember the name coming up, because obviously I remember Dan Lauby Sr.
They require 143.
From the early days of the WDC and PDC. Oh, hang on.
That's a great start. And that was just the moment, and you can see the frustration there, because they're the kind of finishers. With him sat on 40 as well, he's looking for that spark already.
And he knows the mental and psychological effect that will have on his opponent.
And that's exactly what Danny did this week when Nathan was just running away with the crew. He just had a 1-5-2 finish all of a sudden.
Yep.
And it sort of just changed and made Nathan think this week.
Well, yeah, as I was saying, I remember his father. I remember him playing as a 17-year-old in the US Open. And was one game away of actually playing a player who's in Group B this evening, or Group 2, in Colin Osborne. And
48.
Danny made the last 64 of the US Open, losing out to Steve Beaton, who took care of Colin Osborne in the last 32.
Just talking about Steve off
2009, he was a 17-year-old boy.
Yeah. We're just talking about Steve Beaton. We're on about natural throws. We've been having a chat off there.
140.
Steve Beaton, you know, if anyone's ever been watching and how can I throw a dart? We said he can go and have a year playing golf and then come back and especially dart to a maximum.
Yeah, I watched him play yesterday in the latest Euro Tour over in Belgium. There's plenty of shocks going on over there as well.
37.
No more so than Hybrix defeating MVG this evening. And Niels van der Velde beating Peter Wright 6-5.
I see him at 5-4. I did see that. I know they didn't shake hands, so I don't know what had happened going into that last leg.
And Andrew Gilding, which wouldn't be a surprise at the moment, defeated
136.
Dimitri van der Berg 6-5.
100. Lee requires 40.
Tops.
It's fantastic to have that support because it's so that if you're wondering, the crowd are so right on Lee there. And the family are winning this double 10 in.
Game shot
Final dart. That will give him a boost, and it is a break back, Glenn.
Fantastic, and that's exactly what he needs. I've been chatting with the family there, and it's
Lee to throw first.
All the family have come down when they saw him playing this week because they know that he's had difficult times, and that could just be the moment for him. That's his best dart. That first dart just sat above.
100.
He can work around that, can't he?
And the less tension he had in his body as the week went on, the better it was sitting.
100.
But just when you think you're getting on top of someone like Dan Lauby, they're so quick. Within a second, he's back there.
Yeah, and Lee's just got to watch himself that he doesn't start playing to the rhythm of Danny Lauby, which are more experienced players, I'm sure you know, they try to force, well, you would know, you weren't slow, you were medium paced, but you'll know players would try and get you to go at them pace, and he backs up the 140 with a 180.
Danny Lauby played Willie O'Connor at Ali Pali last year, and I was playing the winner, and it was an absolute barnstorm of the game. And Danny was so unlucky to lose that match.
60.
And that's what I've saw this week as well. I was expecting to sort of use the bullseye in that shot. A lot of these younger players, they're using the treble 17 to start off, the treble 19, and it's been virtually impossible to try and predict the way people are going to.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get, if you go 20-20, I totally get going for the 51 on that occasion, because there's the 4-4, and then of course the 91 gives you that ton 140 combination to leave 170.
Absolutely. Already, this is a big moment in this match.
Huge.
Danny's just missed the bull. Bullseye.
59. Danny required 25.
That's a long way back from 3-1. A huge swing leg. He's quick, isn't he?
19.
Sometimes wonder if he's too quick.
Lee required 25.
It's hard to be too critical.
And as someone who's quite mediocre, but this 25 has been critical this week. And I say to people, you finish on this, that's a good marker.
Game shot
in this match. That would be from 2-0 down. Lee Cox brings parity to this game. Huge point on a Saturday night. It just feels like you've got to get off. You've got to get out the blocks. If you lose this first game, it's very difficult to come back, and you're relying on others too. Big moment for Lee there.
You only play 2 games, of course, on finals night. You're averaging 97.22, which is very, very impressive.
And the story of Lee's week has been averaging round about the 80s and can be 10, 15 behind people in the averages, but he was just sticking in there and winning games. He looked like he was going to lose.
MVG, James Wade made a career out of it, didn't he? See him when he plays MVG, if he thinks the leg's dead, he'll just plod along, and that's why the averages are so different, of course. But there ain't too many people that hold throw better than Wade. You did actually make a brilliant point. I was listening all week. Just hoping you weren't going to be very good, to be honest, but I'm a little bit disappointed, but there you go. No, but you actually called it bob on about those finishes, your 52s, your 62s, your 70s, your 72s, your 81s. That's where you've got, those where the opportunities arise, where those clutch 2-dart, maybe 3-dart finishes, or
82.
finding that bullseye with 1 dart in hand, they're make or break moments.
And Chris, they didn't let us down. They were absolutely mustard on them.
140.
Each time we were building them up, and we thought, surely now commentators curse. They were brilliant. And that's what I say to a lot of younger players. Stop ringing me and telling me how many 180s you're hitting.
I was just about to say that the big thing, because of the phenomenon of TV darts all over again, is the 180s and the 170s. You forget, you know, your 52s and
tops.
Game shown the 5th lap.
Blink of an eye.
Danny Lauby.
Just as you think Lee Cox is beginning to take over this match, Dan Lauby within seconds, a 108, a treble 20, a big 8, and
6 legged lead to throw
top there
first.
to take a 3-2 lead.
Well, Danny Lauby, with probably that American spirit, is not here to take part. He'll probably say he's here to take over.
It was great chat. He said 4,000 miles, Glenn. He didn't say much. I asked him a question that went on for about 40 seconds, and I got an answer of yes.
97.
So I thought this is going to be hard work, but shy lad, but that steely determination on the hockey that you want from someone.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure whether he'd make the perfect
55.
pupil, because I think it would be hard to rein him in, and there's already, you know, that he's, like I say, I don't really do much coaching at senior level, but I love working with people who are just starting, just so you can implement the fundamentals.
They're my favourites. Yeah, that's my favourite. And
you can see improvements overnight.
It's in a 2-hour session. It's fantastic. It's teaching old dog new tricks is a tougher session. But yeah, when someone comes in and it's just a birthday and they want to learn the fundamentals of the game, balance, stance, follow through, it's wonderful to see them hitting big 1s to suddenly hitting big 20s. It's yeah, feels good.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I've done some bits and bobs with established pro players, but you know, it's a bit like when you stick Phil Taylor in the commentary box, and you're a bit of an exception to this rule, but you know, he commentates on the games. He goes, "Well, how have they missed that? Well, why did they do that?" I said, Phil, not because they wanted to do it. It's just how difficult the game is.
Yeah, he gave me some advice this week, so it was yeah.
He gave me plenty. I just didn't listen.
59. Danny require 131.
Well, this could be for the match. Treble 17, tops. New school.
Absolutely.
91.
Great last that's going to make Lee think that this 80s all of a sudden become absolutely huge, because you can't see Danny missing from here.
And another example, exactly what you were speaking about in the week, and another example of a fabulous clutch finish. Well, we're at 3-3. This game can only go 1 leg more.
7th and final leg. It's Danny to throw first. As always,
best of 7, first to 4. 2 points for a win. Leg difference will play its part.
140.
And what a start to deciding leg from Lauby. Lee would have been thinking to himself, come on, just hit 41 or get a bounce out.
85.
And he's a stat for you. Dan Lauby at 3-3 in the MODUS Super Series has never lost.
140.
You're after my job, aren't you? Well. He's got to fill it just to get level in the leg.
After made that fantastic stat there, I was expecting Lee to fill that up, but I'm absolutely over the moon for Lee Cox this week, because the confidence is just shining through him right now.
42.
Tell you a player I've seen a lot of down at Southampton that didn't play, and again, it may be because of that transition onto this different environment. Is he going to fight? He's moving all the way left. Can he drop it in? Nearly. The line was okay. It's got him back in the leg. It's Kurt Parry. What a throw that is.
What a throw that is.
I would trade
41.
my left one for that
Leave
throw.
136.
And I told him, commentators curse at its best. Danny Lauby's never lost. MODUS Super Series. He opens up with a 140. Durant opens his mouth.
45.
Oh, I think he's still going to be right.
Danny require 138.
But that deflected 5 has given Danny a chance. But the Della.
Not that he mentions it.
58.
So 91. Does he go 91. Bull or does he go aggressive?
So many people have been aggressive this week, so I'm going to say a treble.
When you can do that, why not? What a comeback win! The first time Lee Cox was in front in the whole match, and he leaves it to the deciding leg of the contest. Good average from Danny Lauby. Not enough to avoid defeat. Up next, it's Colin Osborne against Sebastian.
Welcome back to finals night here at the Super Series, and what a super first match we saw. Went all 7 legs, and it was Lee Cox who came out the victor by 4 legs to 3 against Danny Lauby. Lauby did have a 3-2 lead, but it was some real resilience from Crafty Coxie that got him over the line courtesy of that 91 checkout. A 95.12 average for Lauby was not enough, and it's the first time in the competition that he has lost in the deciding leg. So work for him to do if he is to progress through to the semi-finals. 2 from 3 make it through to the final 4, but he's going to have to win his last game of the group to stand a chance. Well, we're going to begin Group 2 now, and we kick off with a battle of 2 different generations. Colin Osborne, the man with experience on T-side, up against the 18-year-old Sebastian Bialecki, who really has shone here at the Super Series, has Bolt, with moments just like this 1-2-5 against Matt Dennant in Group B. He's played all 5 days so far, and he'll be hoping that come Saturday he'll be finishing with a place in Champions League. He had to rely on the late results to get himself through. His opponent, Colin Osborne, won the group, and I caught up with him earlier on this evening to see how he feels ahead of his opening match.
Colin, finals night, how good is it to be here?
It feels very good. Like I say, I come in this week, Thursday, Friday, with half the job done. The goal's always to get through to Saturday night, and here we are.
What was yesterday like? It was a very good night, I felt, for you.
It's I mean, same as Thursday. I mean, obviously all week, and moving forward with the whole thing in perspective, it's a very good standard. But coming in Thursday, with the group of lads I come in with last night, I was thinking to myself, maybe 2-3 wins should definitely get me through, but to win all 4 was fantastic.
Looking forward to playing for that crowd tonight?
Oh yes, yeah. It's even like say the last few weeks that I I'm watching it, and then when I come in Thursday and as soon as I walk back up there, it's like it's where we play.
And finally, what would winning tonight potentially mean to you?
Oh, everything, It's that's what we do. We cook it. It doesn't matter where we go. We cook up like that, and obviously in front of the crowd there tonight, and hopefully go away champion. Yeah, it'll be great.
So, and those are thoughts of Colin Osborne ahead of his opening game of the evening. Will the Wizard provide some magic, or will Bolt get out the traps quickest? Chris Mason and Glenn Durrant are your commentators. Owen Binks is the man in the middle.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. We've got the most experienced Super Series player in Colin Osborne. This is his 331st game in the MODUS Super Series.
About how many caps you had for your county, wasn't it?
About that, yeah. Against Sebastian, one of the most inexperienced. But what a player he's been. We've barely spoke about him this week, Chris.
Well, it screams the ignorance of youth, doesn't it? Because he's not damaged goods. He's not had those terrible, painful defeats that he'll dwell over and yeah, almost just not sleep over.
Yeah, it's been quite refreshing to see him next door. Obviously, he's doing his own thing as young players do, phone in hand. So I've seen him, how quiet he is, how reserved, how shy when you talk to him. And then I've had Arron Monk.
Polar opposite.
Okay, first like it's Colin to throw first.
I've first seen Sebastian, of course, in the UK Open. And he hit that wonderful 9-darter and then lost in his next match to someone who hit one against him.
17-year-old he was that year. And he backed it up with the quarter-final this year.
Yep.
45.
But this guy has been there and done it, of course.
Yeah, you shouldn't be biased, obviously, as a commentator. That's one of the things I said, but obviously Colin is an absolute legend where I live, a legend of a man, and yeah, he's a good guy. And just to sort of see him play well and happy again, it's really, really nice.
Yeah, had a few 9-darters in his career, 4 in total, 1 back in March of 2021 when this was the live league, of course.
140.
He's got the highest win rate this week, 75% of every game he's played this week. So he came in here tonight as obviously one of the favourites.
96.
And to complement that with his experience as well, I think he's here to win the prize tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely got it about him this evening.
92.
They played twice this week, of course, in Group B. Colin winning them both, 4-1 and 4-2. The one on Thursday night, he played lovely.
He did.
97.7 average, 3 180s and 80% on the doubles.
He was delighted when he come back after that game. I was just happened to be walking through there, and he said that was a great feeling. And one of the reasons why he began to do so well, because this type of format, I mean, tonight, how good is Lee Cox feeling in there now? He's virtually put himself into the semi-finals now. You just want to get them points, and he'd be feeling good, and that's exactly how Colin felt after that game with
Sebastian, you require 112.
Yeah, but Danny won't be feeling too bad. He averaged over 95, and if you're going to lose 4-3, and it gives you a chance because it'll be in his hands, but it's against Scott Williams.
56.
Which is not
Colin, you require 82.
An easy game.
So Colin will be looking at the Bulls high with the first dart. That's the perfect dart. Double 16. Double 8's been good for him this week.
Game shown the
and if
first.
it continues with that trend, it's
Colin
a lovely start
Osborne.
for Colin Osborne. Exactly what the doctor ordered. He leads Sebastian 1-0.
Yeah, an 18-dart hold, and that'll be more than enough
Second against Sebastian to throw first.
The initiative in this one, because you feel that Seb's that kind of player that you've just got to, you know, keep on the reins.
What I did like was Sebastian a couple of times, because you get no emotion from him.
No.
Christopher Tasker Jr., I've been calling him in the commentary box. He's, you know, whether he's sort of that's his mentor or something, but just as we say that, Colin's been hitting some massive 180 scores this week. A sign that he's very, very happy with his throw right now.
Yeah,
97.
I get where you get the Ratajski element from.
Something else I've noticed about his game, there's that use of treble 17 again there, Chris. But what I've noticed about Colin's game is perfect first start now is just, if he's going to miss the treble 20, just underneath it now.
Yeah, he's got almost stacker.
180.
That's his first of the match. And is he going to do the 350 in 6? Put it past him. Yeah, Colin, in terms of 180s this week.
Sebastian, you require 170.
8 matches, isn't it? 15 180s. That's not a bad return. Oh.
23.
145.
Oh, I've been waiting all week for that, Chris. I've got me words and everything wrote down for the first 170.
Buckled the wire, didn't he?
That's a great effort.
Oh, 20 and ball.
This will hurt.
Double 5.
This will hurt, Colin Osborne.
125. Sebastian, you require 25.
And these aren't easy when you're 1-0 down, and you've just watched your opponent nearly take out 130.
On the second leg.
No problem at all.
Sebastian Bialecki.
14 dart hold of his own to level things up. Always add the ingredients to be a good one, this one, Glenn.
Third leg, it's Colin to throw first.
It's experience versus inexperience. We haven't spoken an awful lot about Sebastian, and when I was interviewed just prior to this, exactly the same again. We spoke so much about 5 players, then I realised the one person we're not talking about is Bialecki, and it took me a while to get the surname right there. Lovely lad, absolutely. 18-year-old is what I'll be saying.
38.
What a future.
Well, yeah. How far can he go? I remember, as you probably do,
140.
And I remember a 14-year-old Michael Smith and thinking, my goodness.
Yeah, it was for me. It was Van Gerwen. I think it was in Norway, one of the Scandinavians.
96.
I think, you know, James Wade, Andy Jenkins, and all them guys were there. And this 14-year-old lad from Holland. Yeah, that was probably the best teenager. Luke Littler. Absolutely fabulous. What a talent that boy is.
140.
And that's not easy. And then followed it up, and I think he's in the Gold Event England Classic now final, so he's riding the crest of a wave.
Yeah, if you've not had enough darts, of course, tomorrow
Colin,
you've got a bumper day of darts with the European Tour on pdc.tv, and of course, if you go to YouTube, you'll find the England
121.
The stream for all of those finals. Well worth a look.
One thing I will be saying to Colin, his left 40 again is his favoured double. I've been number crunching all day today in preparation for tonight. Actually,
Colin,
what he's really good on is that double 16, double 8 area. But this is his favoured double to hold throw.
Game shown the third leg.
He picked it,
Colin Osborne.
And he's hit it. And that is an even better leg. We started steady away with an 18 darter. Then we had the 14 dart reply from Seb, and that was a 13 dart hold. And this one is getting better and better for Osborne. He's averaging 104.5.
We did say this had the ingredients to be a great game. It's going with throw, and that is one of the strengths of Colin Osborne, who's winning on average 7 out of 10 legs when he's got the throw, and that's a really good dart. That's what's changed for me. And
yeah, he's just
probably stay there as well.
60.
Well, it would be a slight equipment change in shape of flight or length of stem to make that dart enter flatter, and it's obviously been a conscious decision from him.
61.
5 years, Chris.
Yeah.
I sat with him, he said, Glenn, it's took me 5 years, so talking about my problems, he said it's not going to happen overnight, and but it's just so refreshing to see him, and just seeing him backstage, and now it's like the old Colin Osborne, who I admire, and Like I said, I'll be probably the first person to cheat if he won tonight.
140.
I think he reached the top 10 in the PDC as far as maybe number 9, I think. And sometimes you doubt yourself. Why am I playing like I am now? But
listen, anybody who can get to the top 16 of the PDC,
95.
pretty much any of the last couple of decades has certainly produced at a level to get that high.
55.
yeah, do you remember that one where you won 50 quid a leg? Was it the Champions League? Or
yeah, Championship League, Crondon Park. I played in it and did some media. Actually, I did some spotting in there, and it was myself and because there was 2 boards, wasn't there? One either end of a room, and me and Richard Ashdown. This is the glamour of TV in a transit van with 2 tiny monitors. Him doing the spotting on one and me doing the spotting on the other.
I hope you're a better spotter than that Scott Giblin this week.
58.
Derby fan, isn't he?
Up the Rams. 6 darts from here minimum now for Colin. That's the start exactly he wants. It'll make Sebastian think. That's for sure.
91.
Well,
Sebastian require 87.
Treble 17 for double 18. And that's next door. 78. Double 12.
75.
Very nearly.
Colin, you require 100.
I fancy Colin for this one if it's a big 20.
It's a 4-leg swing. 3, 1, 2 each. Absolutely huge under this best of 7 format.
Tops incoming. Have you noticed he does this thing where he just looks away before
60.
refocusing back at the board?
Sebastian, you
and has he always done that
12.
little thing where he's just climbed on his toes before he throws? It's,
It's that the first part is a re-collaboration, but that's a lovely dart
Sebastian Bialecki.
Well, he's got away with one there. You feel a 19 darter out of the blue, that one from Colin.
And that was double 6 there from Sebastian. There's three
Colin
doubles
to
he's
throw
never
first.
missed under the MODUS Super League. Double 6 is one of them.
Wow.
And you won't get the other 2.
Double 17. Never it.
Double 15 and double 5. So I've been keen to see what he was like and then 3 doubles there. Double 6 was kind to him once again.
Well, we had a big disparity in averages in our opening game, Glenn, didn't we? And that, well, that went the other way.
60.
Will Seb do the same in our opening match? It was a 95 average in defeat for Lauby. Well, Lee Cox averaged just under 85.
It's been a real indicative of Lee Cox's
60.
week.
Yeah.
It's never been in matches sometimes, and there's the term winning ugly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's been doing. So then you start thinking, is it my, is it my week?
100.
This one beautifully poised. Pressure on both.
140.
What a time to find a 140 to leave 167.
A virtuoso throw from Osborne, who's played some of the best darts for many, many years.
58. Colin, you require 167.
Board management might be key here. Might just stay there, actually.
Yeah, I would have.
Want to talk about the experience.
127.
Leave his favourite double tops.
You can't just simplify. The game's hard enough without making it more complicated. And that's a worry I have with Scott Williams. You know, he can get away with it at maybe this level, but you know, he's got bigger aspirations.
40.
I think he's he's guaranteed himself a tour card, hasn't he, next year? And I'm not sure how some of those tactics will work out. And that's a 13 darter in response.
I think he's got a magnet in the double top tonight.
No better feeling, is there, when it just pops in and you can
Sig-legged
feel it at your end of your
Sebastian to
throw.
throw first.
He looks good. I've been obsessed with mannerisms this week and couldn't take my eyes off Arron Monk in his games, but just people are bouncing on the Rocky when they have him. It's the best I've seen Colin Osborne for many, many years. And I know lots of our T-siders are sat listening right now because it's, they want to see Colin do so well. So a big shout out to everyone. I know you're watching. I seen your message earlier, Carl Ager. Told him. And he's doing you proud.
Obviously, I was sort of around when, well, I was sort of coming to the end as Colin started to make his move in the PDC, and he was tough to play against because you couldn't find a way of disliking him enough.
Yeah, I have a lovely story. Maybe too long because of the stage we're at here, but he went from
140.
local league. He moved to Derby. We'd heard this reputation, how good he was, and I thought, well, that's impossible in 6 months. Went to see him at the UK Open, and all the rumours were correct. He'd gone from a good player to a great player within 6 months.
140.
Looking good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's look. I like the fact there's just so much control in the throw, and confidence and belief.
And like you said off air as well, just
96.
looks happy.
Yep.
Colin, you
Well,
require
happy players is a dangerous one.
121.
It's us miserable sods that are
Yeah.
easy to beat, mate.
Or it does. I'm loving his average here right now, so this would be nice.
Way
Treble
to
11.
finish.
For double 14 for the match.
93.
Oh, 80.
Sebastian, you
for
require
Seb.
80.
He's 2 from 4 on the doubles at the moment. He's going to have to hit tops. Single 20 to stay alive in this opening match in Group 2. And he's just over pitched.
And all you want to do
Colin,
first
you
game of the
require
night is
28.
come out the traps and
Yep.
get the 2 points on the board.
Well, Osborne's done that.
And if you'd asked him beforehand that you're going to get 3 darts at 3-2, he'd have snapped your hands off for this double 14.
Especially when you're averaging over 102 and he
shot
pops
on
it
the
in
match.
for back
Colin
to back.
Osborne.
13 dart legs for Colin Osborne to see this one over the line. Look at the averages, 102.10 for Colin Osborne, a very respectable 88.17. That's just over 29 per dart. That was proper quality back in my day. But the doubling from both was decent as well. 4 out of 7, 57% for Colin Osborne. When we come back, we return to Group 1, and it will be our first look at Scott Williams, who faces Lee Cox.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where both of the groups have seen their first matches completed. And what a performance that was for Colin Osborne to get his night underway with a 4-2 victory against Sebastian Bialecki with an average of 102.1, an 82 finish there, 57% on the doubles. There really was not much not to like there from the Wiz, and Bialecki himself averaging 88 and yet was on the wrong end of a 4-2 scoreline. So we've played one game in each group. We're now going to get to the midway point of our action in the pool phases this evening. We're going to see one of the real heavyweights in action this evening. It's been a big night of boxing, but it's Scott Williams who will toe the Yoki this evening in our next match against Lee Cox. He qualified through Group B, helped in part by this 1-4-4 to level things up against Matt Dennant last night. He really has been the greatest throw man here on the stage this week. We've seen some brilliant stuff. We've seen blind 180, we've seen ball, one ball. Anything could happen on Saturday night here at the Super Series with Scott Williams in action. So let's get the players ready on stage and hand back to Glenn and Chris.
Thank you very much, Henry. And what a treat that was to see Colin Osborne produce an average of 102. Well, Scott Williams, PB at the Super Series, a monstrous 112.38.
Watch these 3 darts he does now. Watch what he does here.
Yeah, oh, he's not throwing them all at once, no.
Oh, he's got 3 more.
The final 3 throws them all at the same time, doesn't he?
While you were doing your prep there, he was waving to us at the top there. He's character with a capital C. I thought it's only a small players lounge in there. I thought with him and Arron Monk in there could be very interesting.
Okay, first against Lee to throw first.
Divisive
Game
character. I know. Well, he should nickname himself Marmite, because half the people like him and the other half.
Well, I'll be really honest, but this is a great start. Lee,
140.
I was his biggest fan until I turned up this week. But you know, when you sit and talk to him, he reminds me a little bit of Gezi Price in the sense that very softly spoken. He's got a different side of him. He didn't like the fact I was telling him he had a softer side, because I think he's enjoying this brashness, this cockiness that he's sort of portraying. But he has got a softer side to him, and it was nice to see that.
Yeah, well, I think we all become a slightly different character when we do the walk on or step on that stage. I think you have to have an alter ego to be able to get up there, because it's a very scary and lonely place, and I think he just does it because that's what gives him the motivation.
Is there a bigger one than Peter Wright? But what a start from Lee Cox. He's come out the traps like a trap forward at Sunderland.
I'm a little bit concerned about the Paul Nicholson socks.
97. They require 170.
A sea of yellow up there this week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he said, wow.
I'm still not going to get my 170, but what a second dart
121.
You're probably going to get one tonight from Scott Williams.
A beautiful first leg from Lee Cox.
Yeah, down to...
Exactly what he wanted as he done the walk onto the stage.
Oh.
Got Robin Hood in the house.
25. Wow. They require 49.
This is the game. This is the
game
area.
Show the first.
See amazing improvement from him as the week went on. And like I said, he's got that crowd behind. It's not a big crowd in there tonight. But as you look to your screen, there, just to your left,
he's
got about a dozen people there, and they're right behind him. They're very, very proud of him because they know how down in the dumps he's been recently.
Yeah, if you want to come and enjoy
60
big-time darts at the most intimate level, you're literally no more than 20 feet at worst away from the action. Tickets are available. Dartshop.tv. It's free. Literally no catch, and the beer's really cheap. And the Coke and lemonade if you're
57.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock tonight, it was like one of my exhibitions.
You nicked my line. I'd love that many in. Yeah, it's come along, come and join us. You'll meet all of us here. We're all knocking about, as are the players. You can even apologise for all the stats I've thrown at you tonight, but look at Scott Williams there, Chris, after a leg and a half. Could you imagine that was going to be his average tonight? It's one of mine at Super League, that is. 65.57, 98 for Lee Cox, which is just an early indication of the start, or the differing start they've both made, Glenn.
What a story this could be if Lee can lift the title tonight and get himself to Champions Week.
140.
And it's great to be up close and personal. We chatted off there again that we're not really audience participation people. If we go to the pub to watch some darts, we'll probably just shout over what's the score. But when you're sat here and you're seeing everything, the way they are, the good, the bad, the ugly, but what a story it would be for the crafty Coxie.
I like that. I like that.
100. Lee require 146.
After the week I've had, I'm just glad Alex Small's not playing him right now. It's like a carry-on.
Yeah.
It's like a carry-on film at one point this week.
I have to say that did make me
81.
absolutely
require
laugh out
84.
loud. Well, he's left 65, but we don't know which way he will go for this. Well, Route 1. Double six.
Game show on the
Finds
second
it
leg.
not quite in the middle.
Scott
There you go.
Williams.
A little bit of a Bob Anderson point there.
Oh, there's one of my real heroes. But yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get from this guy, and that's the beauty of him.
Third against Lee to
Appreciate
throw
him.
first.
You don't want robots. You don't want everyone to be the same. You need characters in the game.
Oh, God, yeah.
I was just disappointed in the same draw today. It was
44.
Arron Monk versus Scott Williams, because that would have been super interesting. Will we see that in the semis later?
Yeah, we sort of went through a bit of a period with darts where it became a little bit too sterile. We were trying to
57.
conform a little bit too much, and that's understandable when you're trying to attract sponsorship deals worth millions. But we also we need people up there with
85.
different characters. Well, Peter Wright was a breath of fresh air.
Talk alter ego, he's the guy. Yeah, but this guy, like I said, he's something different.
88.
But what he does is he backs it up, and that's the importance.
Sad news today. Sorry to be on a negative note, but
140.
some of you dart fans of a certain age will remember Tony Brown, wonderful player from the Kent area.
Yeah, we heard last night, but we didn't want to say in case it was till it was confirmed, Chris.
Yeah, sadly passed away, age 77. Wonderful player. And the original part of the... You'd remember this, Glenn,
65.
remember the Marlborough team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Colin Baker, wasn't it? And Bob...
And then he went on to Doctor Who.
Who?
I'm here all week.
That was like the
56.
first ever
Lee
superstar
require
team that used to
167.
travel around the country.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Bobby George was involved in that as well.
Yeah, the Harlem
Alan Glazier.
Globetrotters.
Yeah, Alan Glazier as well. The player
45.
sadly passed away in the last couple of years.
That's been quite noticeable this week, Chris. People round about that 167, well ahead in control, but just not setting it up nicely. Gives an opportunity when Scott Williams was not in this group.
Again, down to experience and board management.
And I think more board management. There's so much talent about
130.
here,
Lee
and,
122.
he's used the bullseye. Fantastic there.
You can sometimes be guilty of forcing, and there's a perfect example. When you're in a match of this importance, make sure of the 18. Get that dart at the ball.
67.
My words, exactly.
72. Scott, you require
Now,
110.
110 is key here because this week he needed this, and it started how well he was playing, and you just knew it was going to go in this week. He hasn't been
42.
since that opening
Lee
night.
require 50.
He's hit this already, Chris.
Can he nip inside it?
18.
It was one of those that
Scott, you
it was, either
require
gonna bounce
68.
the wrong side or just tracking from the previous dart.
52.
That was for a breaker throw after
Lee require
21 darts.
32.
Didn't think I'd be saying that tonight. With a game including Scott Williams, Lee Cox. Are you up to the challenge here, double 16?
Friend
Game
or foe?
show number
Finds the bottom corner.
Lee Cox.
And Lee Cox takes the lead. Led 1-0. Was
Fourth leg, it's Scott to throw
levelled
first.
by Williams.
Game
Well,
on.
that was a 23-dart hold.
And it is an intimate crowd, a small crowd there, but for me it feels like an extra dart for Lee to have
134.
his family and friends so close to him there.
Well, they call it like the 12th man in football, don't they? And it's like the fourth dart in darts when you have a real patriotic crowd. No doubt that played its
98.
part in Kim Hybrit's win over MVG this evening.
In front of a Belgium crowd as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure he celebrated.
Oh, I bet he did. Well, I've seen it. He did.
95.
Just a little. He gave it the full beans. And rightly so. Huge win for him.
85.
You talk about catalysts, you talk about moments. I think maybe it is time for, if Kim's got aspirations to get back in that top 16, back in Premier Leagues. The Euro 2 is a fine start for that.
140.
I'd love to know what your thoughts. I've given my thoughts this week about the bull one bull and the...
Well, it's nonsense, isn't it? Because it's not, you know, all this tripe that it's a blind
60.
180, the dart's thrown, and then you
Scott,
look away.
require
You know, just look away and throw it.
132.
I think the only one I ever seen was the Eddie Lewis one.
Yeah. That's about as close as you'll get to a...
60.
And it just reeks of disrespect for your opponent.
I don't know if you were listening, but that was the word I used. I sort of regretted it because I'm on my best behaviour this week.
There was a moment where...
100. Scott, you
recently, I
require
can't remember what sort of
72.
darts have all blended into one. But Daryl Gurney was playing Dan and Nopper, and he tried it and missed it, and Danny Nopper it, and it was over with then. He didn't do it
Game
again.
shown the 4th lane.
So that's
Scott
Williams
Williams.
we've seen this week.
yeah, it's a 15 darter. But again, it's what he likes, and you know, there's no rules
Fifth leg, it's Lee to throw first.
if you potentially want to
Game
waste
on.
the dart or...
Well, they've had a good laugh back, you know, at the table there chatting about that.
Yeah,
It'd been interesting if he'd done that against Chris Mason.
yeah, good luck with that.
95.
I'd be whistling one past your ear.
That's the dart for him. That's his best dart.
Yeah.
These will follow.
140.
And listen, it's not a personal thing. It's just that I think the guy's so talented that you would feel he would
140.
benefit from being more focused and more concerned about winning matches than doing something spectacular. he's capable of doing
180.
I just think he needs the right people around him now.
Yeah.
I think, is he with Will Adamson?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm pretty certain. He could be,
96.
but right now, he just needs nurturing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, next year could be here. I mean, he's in Ali Pali this year, and with darts like he's throwing right now, he can be.
Oh my!
No one would want him.
You don't want to play into the first round.
170.
My goodness! You imagine what? And he seems the type of player that would blossom even more on a big stage. He's just got that personality. He's got that aura about him.
He's got that X factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
98.
We've built him up so much for
Got
this
your
double
require
18 now.
36.
And more importantly, this is for a breaker throw. This is a stinker.
18.
That is darts.
Lee
in one
requires
shot,
72.
millimetres. And Lee, we've talked so much this week about clutch finishing. Perfect dart.
54.
Both on the wires, and that's the difference.
Scott, you
That is the
require
difference.
18.
When your luck is in, or when you're playing well,
They drop in,
that
don't
hits
they?
your finger and goes in. Perfect marker for Williams.
Game shown the 5th
And
lane.
uses it.
Scott Williams.
Very, very tidy from Williams. A 15 darter to hold has been backed up with a 14 dart break. He now
Sibling,
leads
it's Scott to
3-2.
throw
And
first.
it's his to lose from here.
Game on.
Averages both 85. It feels better than that.
It does, doesn't it? Stack
100.
Durrant. He's the one for this match. If he wins this game, Williams, it'll be his 100th win in the MODUS Super Series.
That's a lovely
60.
stat.
You can tell I'm working hard this week, can't you?
You're all right. You're earning your
Earning
pocket money.
Earning me 15 quid.
96.
What Shane Burgess was on for playing for England, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm enjoying his social media. It's like
He's funny, isn't he?
yes, he is, and it's like watching Gordon Ramsay at the moment. But I wasn't so
29.
sure about the squirrel pie, though. I must admit.
Yeah, his eating habits are absolutely grim.
Yes, we share the same belly. There was a nickname of a player this week called Belly, and I was assuming it was because of his belly, but then I found it was saying it was Belmont.
Wonder where you were going with that.
Nowhere near Alex Small versus Lee Cox, that's for sure. 173, 19s, do you think?
Yeah, 7 of them would leave tops. Treble 18.
97.
Would have been the same result, of course. 133.
Huge advantage to Scott Williams now, and that 100th win in the MODUS Super Series is looking almost imminent.
The end of this match has been high quality. I mean, if he takes this out, the final 3 legs of the match, he's averaged well in excess of 100.
Then Lee Cox will become the biggest supporter for Scott Williams in his final match.
Yep.
Game shot on the
finishes
match.
It clinically with his second 15 darter of the match. He's seen that one out in just 44 darters, an average in excess of 100. An indifferent start. Those players hitting 4-140s, checkouts 40% against Lee Cox's 28.57, and that was a bit of his undoing, because early doors he could have caused him all sorts of trouble. Right, when we come back, it will be Seb against our first look at Arron Monk.
And so Group 1 is going all the way to the wire here at the MODUS Super Series as Scott Williams gets his campaign underway with a 4-2 victory over Lee Cox. It was a brilliant one towards the line for the man they call Shaggy. A winner of 4 Challenge Tour titles this year, and his run towards the line really did show. An 87.5 average, 84 high checkout, 4 from 10 on the doubles. It really was a solid opening performance there for the man from Lincolnshire. So Group 1 is heading towards its final game, but we're only at the midway point in Group 2, and we're going to get our first look this evening of Arron Monk on the stage. I caught up with him earlier on this evening to see how he's feeling ahead of this big final.
Arron, finals night, how pleased you to be here?
Yeah, really pleased. I did think I'd make it, but obviously that don't mean nothing, but yeah, I'm more than happy.
I was going to say, it's been a good couple of days for you, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what kind of form I was coming into. I've been working so much, so... But yeah, I'm happy.
And of course tonight, with the crowd, it's kind of what you're all about, isn't it? These moments, these occasions?
Yeah, definitely. More people the better. Yeah, I thrive with that. And yeah, especially when I give the large one and it doubles, yeah, it's good.
Obviously a really good field tonight. There's a real buzz in that practice room. What's it like to play against some of the best players outside the PDC system this evening?
I've played most of them before, and all good mates of mine as well, so we've had some bands that are definitely in the back room, but I feel confident.
And very quickly, what would winning here tonight mean?
Oh, a lot at the moment, yeah, in this stage of my career, yeah, I'm trying to kick-start it, and this would be a big boost.
So Arron Monk, the former World Youth Champion, takes to the stage as he takes on Sebastian Bialecki, a young player we may see plenty of in the future. In the commentary box, 2 men who've made their fair share of World Match Play semi-finals. Glenn Durrant, Chris Mason, you're in very capable hands, guys.
Yeah, we just sat here with our fingers and toes trying to work out the scores for Group 1. But this one's a little bit more straightforward. If Arron can take the points against Sebastian, then it'll be Arron and Colin Osborne going through to the semi-finals.
Well, a bit of advantage for Seb, of course, having already had 1 game against Colin Osborne, losing out 4-2. Good performance, though, from Colin, has to be said. Not too much could have been done about that.
One of my favourite shirts that he's wearing. Obviously, when you played for England,
Sebastian
you remember the red trousers of
Game
Bob Anderson, and
I had to wear a pair, unfortunately.
And then when I first played for England, it was the heaviest, most horrible shirt that you had to wear, but you wore it very proud. What a start for Sebastian.
120.
What year did you make debut for England?
I'm terrible. I'm terrible with 2013, possibly. I went to the World Cup in Canada. Tremendous. And then we got these shirts maybe 2 years after, and obviously Arron's very proud when he was chosen recently, so...
They are nice.
Yeah.
60.
I think I made my debut in 99 or 2000 at the wonderful Merthyr Tydfil.
Snap.
Did you make your debut there? Well, we'd won the home nations for I don't know how many years, and I get picked for England, play against a Super League teammate because I was playing in London Super League there, and then against Wales I played Martin Freeman, probably a player you know, and he played Super League with my dad and me.
Nice.
So it was 2 Super League mates I played on debut.
$140.
Been really impressed with Sebastian. So how do you think he'll take away with this week? Because he's 18-year-old. He's getting these opportunities right now. He's come from Poland. And
well, win or lose, you get an opportunity to play in this environment. You know, I remember what I was like when I was travelling all over the place playing darts in my 20s. I just wanted to play darts. That's all you want to do. Anywhere, anytime, any place, any environment. So do you imagine the advantage of plying his trade and learning his trade in this environment? What a great preparation. What a great finish that is for Arron.
Arron Monk.
A 15 darter.
I was interviewed earlier regarding Arron, and they said, who's going to win tonight? I said, with the army and hordes of friends and family that's coming for Arron.
Game on.
I said, I'm going to stick my neck out for the group that wasn't the best. And I said, I'm going to go with Arron Monk. to find out that his friends and family aren't coming because of the time, how late it is. And it's going to be really difficult because I thought he was someone who would really feed off the crowd.
84.
So I was really keen to see how he plays today, but fascinating man.
Yeah, well, we know he's got a high ceiling. His highest average here at the Super Series, 108.95. His running average,
134.
I would expect to be a little higher, and it was for a long time, but the last few times he's played in the Super Series, he's not been at his impressive best.
100.
And his average is 86.85 over 144 matches is not too shabby, but his average for the week so far is it's around 87, I think, Glenn.
84.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like I say,
So
the talent's there. I'd be keen to find out. World Youth Champion, beat Michael
Yeah.
van Gerwen 2011. How do you think he feels about how his career's gone?
84.
Oh, he'd be disappointed. He'd be disappointed. He showed so much promise. I mean, he's still a very young man, of course. So
And that's what I
in
said to him.
darting terms, look at you know, with all due
85.
respect, you know, it didn't come for you in your 20s. Look at Peter Wright, didn't win his first world title until he was 49. That's so that's the beauty of this sport. You know,
65.
it's not age dependent.
Yeah. And that's, again, when you talk about people around him, that's the kind of things I've been saying. He said he's not practicing, and he said fatigue kicked in this week. Just having 2 days on the board.
Require
And I found that
167.
really interesting.
Well, when I say in my 20s and 30s and doing exhibitions, they'd say, you know, could you play a couple more? Oh, yeah, go on.
97.
You know, next thing you
Sebastian
know,
Bialecki,
you're half 12 at
130.
midnight, you know, half 12 midnight, and still playing games. I just love to play.
You feel he needs this 56?
Yep.
Already it's a big dart for Sebastian.
Game shown
He's
the
up to the
second
challenge.
Sebastian
Absolute beauty.
Bialecki.
Well, the 86 in leg 1 trumped in leg 2 by Seb.
Delegate Sebastian to throw first.
And Arron there's flexing his shoulders there. He was sat there poised on 70. And then when you watch someone, but this guy has impressed me.
85.
I've tried to talk to him. It's hard to get an awful lot from him. But I've had messages from his friends to say he is reading, he is hearing what you're saying, and we appreciate it. But
57.
listen, friends and family, Sebastian, 18-year-old, just soak it all in right now, win or lose.
Yeah, you're on his own as well.
55.
You've got to take in, you know, it might be it's got to be a quite intimidating environment, but you know, he has been doing this for nearly a couple of years.
54.
I thought the intimidating side is actually is the practice room. You know,
Yeah.
when you've got the Scott Williams, the
Some
Arron
big
Monk
characters in there, isn't there?
and he just quietly sat in the corner, similar to Stephen Belmont, obviously.
140.
Language issues and personality issues, but it was bouncing in there when Arron and Jamie Kellen and all were in there. It was, and that was my introduction to the commentary, and I thought this is what it's all about.
122.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lively week 12 when I make my maybe first and last appearance in the Super Series.
Looking forward to that,
45.
Matt.
I'm not looking forward to the banter from you, that's for sure. Although, Payback is a female dog.
136.
You've got to take it. 176. Happens an awful lot this. Minimum you want is 100, but with a
Yep.
dart like that, you want to be setting up big 16. Cracking setup.
136.
That makes this
Aaron,
1-3-2 doubly difficult
132.
now. But it's a champagne finish for us dart players. So we're starting with a bullseye.
Wow. That's a long, long way off. I notice he's wearing that
52.
thing on his wrist, and
So
that's
that's
been
the
all week.
required
I've
40.
seen it before. I wonder if it's
Game
to
shown
do with
the
the
third
carpal
leg.
tunnel or
Sebastian Bialecki.
something else. But that's our first hold of throw in the match, and it goes to Seb. A 16 darter. This one
Like it's
is
Arron
going
to throw
along
first.
very nicely.
Game on.
Arron averaging 90 after 3 legs, 95 for Seb.
I think he's changed stems, flights all week, Arron.
132.
He's changed his darts a few times over the course of a day.
Yeah, like a bulbous barrel now. I don't. Darts have been the same, but yeah, he's been
49.
trial and error with some stems and flight setups. And,
Well, I always believe you've got to have a lot of confidence to do that. You know, when I've seen Peter Wright, I had the same set. I'm not sure, but I'm sure you're probably the same. I had the same set of darts for 20 odd years.
I bet they were Bristows.
Yeah, they were. I just, I couldn't even imagine throwing with something else.
Yeah, he's changed the whole landscape, hasn't he, right? And who are we to say anything?
100.
Two-time world champion.
You. I can't say anything. Anytime I really made any adjustments, when we used to play over in Vegas for the Desert Classic, because of the air conditioner, I used to go up 4 grams just to, because I used quite a big flight, and I just didn't want them being affected by the circulating air in there. A lot of players did the same.
It was a fantastic game in Dubai, wasn't it? Was it Taylor versus?
No, it was Anderson versus MVG in the final.
I think they went grams up. Well, certainly Anderson.
It was played outside, and they both averaged 110. I remember being at home watching it, just shaking my head in disbelief and admiration.
41. Arron, you require 90.
As bad as that throw was, I was just keen to watch Sebastian there. It was a big one, last thing he wanted, but no reaction from him.
70.
I sort of get it with your opponent back on 226. I just don't get why he didn't go for another 25.
59. Arron, you require 20.
Now I play with, by the way,
Game
just
on the 4th leg.
a Firefox
Arron Monk.
windmill out the box
Is that
dart.
what you use now? That was my next question.
And they're pretty much very similar to a Bristow dart. They're just
5th leg, it's Sebastian to throw
just nicely balanced. I always say when you first start, get something fairly neutral, something fairly balanced. You know, all these fancy looking darts don't necessarily, you know, a £300 set of darts don't make you a better dart player.
A lot of the darts, if you look at them closely, the mirror, the Bristow dart, the Wilson dart.
Yeah, the old Durrow dart.
100.
This is now an exciting game.
They've got prettier with all the colours, and don't get me wrong, it is nice, but ultimately, find something that suits you.
Exactly.
137.
This has been a really enjoyable contest.
And again, without repeating myself, apologies, but Sebastian is probably the least person we've spoke about. He's just quietly but effectively getting on with his job. And he's up against someone, a real guy who's got gears. That's what I wanted to see from Monk.
He goes under the radar, doesn't he? He's very unassuming.
59.
Almost like a silent assassin.
But he's very efficient.
Yeah.
But this guy's beginning to show what we all know he can do, and this is tremendous stuff from Arron Monk.
136.
Well, over the course of his 23 matches, Sebastian, he's averaging 87, 81, a high of just over 100, 23 180s in 23 matches.
140.
That's efficiency.
Arron, you require 85.
Pressure. At 85 now.
Well, it's a big moment to get a break, isn't it?
Break as well. This is for a 12 darter too. He's going to be using the bullseye.
43. Sebastian, you require 70.
Talked so much this week, Chris, about 51 to 72. And once again, big double 16. Game changer. Game changer it is. Sebastian Bialecki takes a 3-2 lead. Look at that checkout. Average. 3 darts at a double. 3 darts hit. 100%. Advantage. Bialecki.
First.
And again, just echoing what you've said all week, Glenn. Those clutch finishes in that range,
42.
They are massive.
And look at the effect it's had on Monk. A 42, easy time to minimum a treble.
60.
No reaction like that.
Yeah, I noticed that a little earlier. I think he hit 41 or 45, and there wasn't a flicker of emotion.
59.
And you've got to be stoic.
He's got that in abundance. It's a fantastic attribute to have going forward against someone totally the opposite. Someone who would never play poker in Arron Monk.
Yeah, well, that if you're that type of player in Arron Monk and you've got that type of approach, when you're playing someone you can't get a flicker out of, they are so hard to play because you try and do everything within
53.
the rules.
Gerwin Price, Dimitri Vandenberg last year.
Yeah, exactly. Great shout.
$100.
He's in a great position now. Arron needs a spark, and he needs that spark right now.
Yeah, needs to fill it up, ideally.
He's not a massive 180 hitter, Arron.
120.
Almost perfect commentator's curse.
I was surprised when I was looking at numbers there, and we just looked at each other after that second one went in.
Yeah, well, he went through a spell where he would go hit 2 treble 20s and run straight for cover. Then he got so fed up with bad deflections and...
Like I said, he doesn't like a 180.
180.
That's his second.
I'll take this commentary like a duck to water.
Oh, trust
What
me.
a finish this is now. Treble 18.
I've been there and done it and said, well, there's no chance he's missing this.
97.
Nowhere near.
Arron, it
Or the
required
opposite.
47.
No chance he's going to take this out.
Massive moment. Massive, massive moment.
Double of choices, tops. One left.
Game show on the
It's in
6th
the
flag.
corner. Messi would have liked that
Arron
one.
Monk.
We knew that was in before. We've seen the screen there. We could hear the scream, the shout.
7th and final leg.
Well,
It's Sebastian
after
to throw
2
first.
breaks to throw in the opening 2 legs. We've had 4 holds.
And I think Arron will be glad he's not thrown in this last leg because he's had
44.
4 attempts at 3-3 with the dart and never won one. Against the darts, he's got a positive ratio, so he'll be happy.
Back in England.
60.
Been a long day.
Oh, talking
Whose
of
shoes would you like to be in right now?
yours.
139.
Well, yeah, it's hard chasing in these deciding legs. There's one stat of Michael van Gerwen's had.
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it?
He went something like
101.
24 consecutive matches winning in the last leg decider.
And it was an opponent, we knew that because all of a sudden it was newsworthy.
Yeah.
And if you go up there and you're 5 each, you know what the
114.
commentators are saying in the background, but
Oh, yeah.
this is pressure. Pressure, pressure for Arron Monk.
6 starts for Seb at 178.
55.
And again, all about the approach play. Board management.
This is the area I've been talking about. Some people have been really disappointing here, and there.
85.
Great last start.
Yeah,
Great
that's
last start.
huge difference in it between 133 and 93. Off 93, you could almost guarantee a match start at the ball if you choose to go the safe way.
36.
Minimum 6, 9 darts from here.
Require 93.
Well, this is not all bad news for Arron Monk. Because he's going to lose, which is looking
61.
like he will. Arron would have to do a bit of a number.
We'll be getting our fingers and toes out again.
Oh, we will.
This opens it wide open again.
87.
Second of the last
Sebastian,
dart
you
anyway, so
require
any pressure you
32.
tried to put on Sebastian,
It's not there.
that's straight dart, poor dart.
All the pressure of a flat tyre.
14.
I was
Oh,
going to say not the end of the world because I thought that was out the board.
so did I.
That
But
leaves a stinker.
we know what can go wrong with double 9 outside, inside. Arron still needs to put pressure on it.
90.
Just
Sebastian, you
about
require
does that.
18.
Does he split? Straight at it. Now he's got to watch the edge. Oh, no, that looks like it's too close.
No score.
And it was. He can't believe it. That's the first bit of emotion we've seen from the Bolt.
In a leg that Arron Monk was never in.
Arron, you require 72.
He'd be absolutely delighted.
Well, he's going to pick his pocket here if he takes this out.
It's all about opportunity.
Not even more a mask.
What a dart that is.
Go,
What a
shot
finish
on
that
the
is. And we can
mats.
hear,
Arron
we can
Monk.
hear the energy, the enjoyment, the relief as he goes into the semi-finals. The tail of the tape. Arron Monk wins 4-3. Sadly, we say goodbye to Sebastian, but what a week he's had. He'll be back. 4 from 8 from the checkouts from Arron Monk, but most importantly there, that clutch finish at the end of 72 is the deciding factor. We'll see Arron Monk a little bit later also.
The drama is hotting up here at the Super Series as our first player has been eliminated from contention in Champions Week and winning that £5,000 first prize. Sebastian Bialecki was on the wrong end of a 4-3 defeat to Arron Monk. He led for the most part during that game, but Arron Monk made a charge for the line with an average of 89.5, 2 maximums to his name. 4 from 8 on the checkouts, that equates to 50%, and that high out of 86 for him. The highlight for Bialecki was at 113, but it was 3 from 9 on the doubles, which ultimately stopped him from progressing his way through to the next round of the competition. So we head to the final game of Group 1 this evening. It's Scott Williams up against Danny Lauby, and this is how things will pan out. Any win for Scott Williams, he is through, and he sends Lee Cox with him. If Danny Lauby wins 4-0 or 4-1, it'll be Danny and Lee that make their way through to the next round. Any other Lauby win, it will be the American and Williams that make their way through to the semi-finals. Hopefully that's all set fair. Let's hand back to our commentary team. It's Chris Mason and Glenn Durrant.
Henry, easy as pie.
Cheers, pal.
But yeah, there is multiple permutations, and well, Glenn's at his abacus is out.
Yeah.
And you pretty much got it nailed down, haven't you?
Bit of pressure here, because I did say I've got an A level in statistics earlier on in the week. So, but the easy one, a Scott win. If Scott wins here, Scott tops the group, and Lee Cox will be the runner-up. So that's the easy one for us all to understand, as he does a dad dance there.
Okay, first leg, it's Scott to throw first.
But did he have his lucky 3 darts at the ball? I think he did. The interesting permutations if Danny wins 4-0, 4-1, because Danny would top the group then, and Lee would be second. So all 3 players can still qualify here. If Danny wins 4-2, Danny tops the group, Scott would be second.
58.
And if Danny wins 4-3, Scott would finish top and Danny second. So lots of permutations. We'll keep you updated throughout this game.
59.
Glad you did that, pal. Now, these two do have a bit of previous, but this is their first meeting at the Super Series. They played twice in 2021 on Challenge Tours. First 2 meetings go into Danny Lauby, 5-4 and 5-1, which must have been a fabulous game, because Williams averaged nearly 97, over 100 for Lauby. And then last year they met Challenge Tour, this year, Challenge Tour won Milton Keynes in a semi-final. That was the weekend, of course, when Scott Williams won back-to-back Challenge Tours. Williams, bit of payback with a 99.67 average, winning 5-1.
I think the pace will suit both players here. You're looking at them averages there, but they haven't started well, the pair of them.
Well, we did mention about, it's a bit like the same boxing, don't they? Styles make fights. Well, that's no different to dart matches. When you get 2 players that play at a similar rhythm and it's a quick one, the game just gets a lovely tempo and they play with freedom.
But you can just smell the nerves, the tension. And that's exactly what you need in the first leg. That's exactly what you need when you're trying to break through.
Well, one of the guys has just got to make a bit of a statement. I mean, it's a big ask for Danny.
138. Danny requires 43
that he has to win by.
Well, like I said, he hasn't travelled
on the first
4,000 miles, so not to hit 43 like that. That's a delightful start after a very poor opening 9 darts, and Scott holds his hands.
Second leg is Danny to throw first.
Well, after all of that, it was still only a 17 darter, Glenn.
59.
A good recovery in the back end of the leg.
I think what's really nice about this one is all 3 players can still qualify. So I'm just wondering if what Lee Cox is doing right now, when it's out of your hand, it's tough.
Praying for a 4-0 win for Danny.
It takes me back to when Andrew Gilden beat me at the Grand Slam and gave me the biggest hug with sweat dripping down him. And then I had to watch Gerwin Price play Simon Whitlock, and all I wanted was Gerwin Price to beat Whitlock, and 4-1 up he was. And I was on an athletics track around Wolverhampton Stadium there, and then I can hear the shouts and the screams of the crowd, and then I got a message to say Whitlock had come back 5-4.
Oh.
But what was even worse was Andrew Gilden was still waiting for me for a second hug.
85. Nice. 140.
Saying now, good lad. Absolutely fascinated the way Andrew Gilden practices on Proto. It's no surprise to me now. When you talk about people doing practice drills, he gets these biggest earphones on, does his own thing.
98, Danny
He's an impressive character, is Andrew
151.
Gilden.
My goodness, last couple of years he has played some unbelievable darts.
And I think a lot of that will be down to what he's doing. And this is wonderful from Danny Lauby.
He's pressured the 120 for the break back. Shanghai.
Like I said earlier in the week, he just knew these were going to go in.
Game shown the second leg.
What a clutch finish that
Scott
is.
Williams.
My goodness.
And who's winning out the loudest cheer? Arron Monk or Scott Williams? You decide.
Third against Scott to throw first.
So, break
Game
throws in the opening 2 legs, but that was some response. And Lauby was ready to pounce for a 2-0 lead. He had a wonderful 115 to lead 36.
140.
But Scott Williams has got his tail up.
He'll be sick as a chip.
134.
More importantly, will Lee Cox have his tail up? Seeing this at 1-1. He'll be happy with where this has started. As we both look at the scenarios, the permutations. We're scratching our head.
Yeah, there is many of them.
98.
Cox is running out of legs, isn't he?
But the bottom line is, if Scott Williams wins this game, Lee Cox is through.
139.
How important will that first leg, that last leg decide in the first game?
The only way Lee is out, of course, is
Scott, you require 164.
wins 4-2 or 4-3.
Well, 4-0, 4-1, which 4-1 it can only be now. Scott would be out.
64.
This is what I like about this format.
Well, I hope in a couple of weeks' time I'm in this position to worry about it, but I pretty much think I'm going to be sat back in this chair on the Saturday night.
So do I, miss. I hope you do fantastic. Just play like you did in them senior qualifiers. Oh, Saturn Dark Connect. Double 16.
68.
I bet you thought they were broke, didn't
Danny
you?
require
Danny Lauby,
150.
you've just seen him at 120.
Yeah.
He's hit you with a left.
Ooh, can't counter punch.
59.
He needed a Joe
Scott,
Joyce.
you require 32.
But it's ended up like Joseph Parker. It's double 16.
Game shown the third leg.
Scott Williams, was there any doubt?
Scott Williams.
Back-to-back legs in 15 and 16 darts and clench fist from Scott Williams. He knows.
Look, it's Danny to throw first.
He's.
I just think that controlled aggression with him.
Well, he knew he was fully aware he needed 2 legs just to ensure his place in the semi-final, and it's all about position now. So he's playing with freedom because the pressure is now off.
Now it's all about, can Dan Lauby win this match to qualify?
96.
Or will Lee Cox go through due to Scott winning this game?
I know what Lee Cox is going through right now, the ringer. Because that can have 1 or 2 effects on a player. We've seen it before, and they've done enough to qualify, and they almost just mentally switch off.
I'd love to know where he is.
85.
Let's hope he's not on an athletics trap in Wolverhampton, though.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with that when I played in the Slam. I actually qualified, but there were only 2 qualifiers, myself and Kevin McDine.
Yeah.
Came through, and my group was Barneveld, Priestley, and Lewis.
140.
But Tommy Cox did love me.
That's a Brahma.
No, it's horrendous.
Hey, Kevin McDine, if you're listening, I have got your darts.
Away, Canny.
100. And he require 120.
He'll like this. Tops man. That's a great match. Just slow down.
Game
Shut up, Dozer. Shut up, Dozer.
Danny Lauby.
What a finish that is. What a group this is.
That's our second 120 out of the match. And it's our second 15 darter.
Just when you think it was beginning to sort itself out.
Well, the averages of, we've got parity and scoreline. The averages, Glenn, 92.07 Williams.
93.
92.52 Lauby.
Just the one difference.
And the finishing is worth a note, Glenn.
174.
Waited for that 174 all week. I just want to say happy birthday to Pup Dundas this week. Enjoy their bets that they used to have at the Lakeside. As the MC's calling the 174 out. A bit excited there after that first arc going in. Have you called many nines?
Yeah, I've actually quite uniquely. I've been on the end of one, obviously.
Yeah.
I've hit a couple in, well, the first one in the Masters and then one in a Players' Championship. And then I marked one in Germany for Jason Clark. I've done one on the radio. Well, no, two now on the radio. And I've done a couple here at the...
Have you done some here too?
Yeah.
Have you done many 170s?
59.
Because that's exactly what Danny Boy needs right now.
Oh, we've had... I don't know. I will have, well, you'll have that stat somewhere, how many 170s we've had in the
40.
Super Series. It is a ridiculous amount.
But the stat I want to say there is 170. Just set it up.
Yep.
But this week has just been all about people, just big one, tightening up.
95.
And it just gives an opportunity for Scott Williams to get back in this leg.
You know, they're just forcing the issue and they should be just sitting off and teeing
105.
up. Well, I suppose he's got to go.
Scott, you require 142.
Yeah,
he had a beautiful 144 yesterday, Scott.
Another one of those. Leaves tops.
102.
So reminiscent of that
Danny
144 yesterday.
25.
Which way did he go? Can you remember?
Treble 18, treble 18, double 18.
No.
That's a frustrating dart. Just
wow.
Recollaborate.
Game
That's
shot
what it's all
fifth
about.
leg.
If you hit the big
Danny
9 there, you
Lauby.
miss the double 8, Danny. That's the way to look at it. Take your time.
Oh,
He's going to go to advantage Lauby
See if
now, and I
it's
can hear
Danny to
Cox
throw
next door.
first. Game on.
The frustration will be kicking in right now because he'd done his job first game.
Yep.
That crowd
96.
that you can hear in there, they'll be...
Well, they'll be cheering on Lauby, won't they?
Yeah,
Because they're all Cox fans.
Yeah.
93.
This place did used to be called the Grapes.
This is fantastic.
180.
And that is the beauty of Dan Lauby. Rhythm, precision, pace. What a player, what a talent. It's advantage
57.
Lauby.
$65.
Real use of the board. I'm quite happy with that for him. That leaves 160. Maximum only, really. I wonder if Scott knows that he's already through.
Yeah.
I
There
don't
was
know if
that
he'd done the calculations.
Yeah, there was a clench fist when he won that third leg to lead 2-1.
100.
I think the crowd are realising, the Lee Cox fans are realising now that after the start that Lee had, they had hopes and aspirations of being in the semi-finals and going all the way.
94.
But right now it's looking like Scott Williams and Dan Lauby are coming out to Group 1.
Double 10 to seal the deal.
40.
Or can Williams
Scott, you require
take us
160.
to the hill
Mercurial
with a
talent
beauty?
of Williams. Do you fancy this?
I do
Because
now.
I do.
140.
He was just on the top wire in the previous leg, and he's made the adjustment,
20.
and he's just on the bottom wire.
Go
And it is
shot on the
Danny Lauby
match. Danny
who gets the
Lauby.
win 4-2 and guarantees his spot in tonight's semi-final. Let's have a look at the numbers. Williams 89.81, Danny Lauby 91.06, 2 180s, and again the finishing of the highest quality here at the Super Series. 4 out of 7 on the doubles. Up next, it will be our final match of Group 2. These two players already through into the semis, so it's all about position. Arron Monk faces Colin Osborne.
Drama at the Super Series as the American Danny Lauby progresses his way through to the semi-finals here at the Live Lounge, and he has taken Scott Williams through with him, courtesy of that 4-2 victory in our previous match, with an average of 91.06, 4 from 7 on the doubles, and both players hitting a Shanghai finish in that match. It was a game littered with quality, and we will see this pair through in the semi-finals. Danny Lauby won the group courtesy of victory by that 4-2 scoreline. Scott Williams finishes second. In this match, we are dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Both of these players already through to the semi-finals. We're going to see who finishes top of the table as Arron Monk takes on Colin Osborne. Let's hand back to our commentary team. It's Glenn Durrant and first, Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry. And yes, just to confirm, Danny will play the loser of this tie, and Scott Williams will play the winner.
I wonder how they feel here. They know it's a dead rubber now. What do? Do you just relax and play your game, or are you already thinking, I want to play Danny, I want to play Scott?
Well, I think there's got to be an element of that, but the nature of these players, they just want to win, don't they?
They do. I just want to sort of conclude there. It's been a, I know Lee Cox has been listening, and been a great week for you, Lee. Lots of positives to take away for you, and
game on.
It's probably difficult to take right now, but you've done really, you've done really well, and good luck moving forward. Do you think, Chris?
Yeah, that was a bit hard on Cox, considering the permutations that have put him out. But it is Lauby and Williams who progresses. He will be back, I am sure, in Series 2, which will kick off in the end of October. Well, middle towards the end. But these two have some history.
96.
Yeah, like you said. I won't bore you with too many stats. If it goes all the way right back to 2009.
I know.
Very close in these MODUS Online Super Series. But I think Arron's had the better of it away from here and some of the TV tournaments.
Yeah, he's had the better of him at the Super Series stroke Forerunner Live League, winning 4-3. Best match they've actually had statistically was their very first match, Phase 1, Week 8. Final of the group in 2021. Colin winning that one 4-3 with 102.42. And away from the Super Series, it's 5-2 to Arron Monk. And he's given
59.
Well, they've given each other a few thumpings.
It's probably the least significant game they've played, but is it bragging rights? It's an interesting one to sort of play, in this game. And are they thinking who they want to play in the semis, or?
Well, when you play a player 1 or 2 times, there's no real. You can't recall it. But when you play people multiple times, and you get that feeling, that they've beaten you way more than you've beaten them. I had that with Kevin Painter. I had absolutely nightmares against him.
59. Colin, you require 120.
Yeah. He's played well in the seniors events. He's the kind of player that still looks good on the TV, doesn't he?
Looks good. Yeah, he looks good. And
45.
I'm sure he'll be winning one of them TV ones. 145 here for Monk. Probably use the 25 bed here, maybe.
60. Colin, you require 36.
I'm not sure if you've been asked. We'll just wait for the double 18 to land. Ooh, double 9. This is not nice. Can he use that?
18.
Went the other side. 85 for Arron.
Arron, you require 85.
45 tops or 57 double 14, depending on what you like.
I've stopped predicting the finishes for this boy.
Button. He's been nowhere near it.
46.
And again, nowhere near it now. Does Colin have the confidence to split? Straight at it.
His doubles have been his strength this week. I think that's the reason why he's going there. Great mark. Surely just take one off that.
No score. Arron, you require 39.
Fell into that thing where you just over pitch it to try and get that deflection. If he wasn't trying to hit double 9, you can guarantee it to caught the flight and gone straight in.
This is a kind of leg where the winner goes through. Never mind the fact that they're both through. I thought they'd be all super relaxed.
29.
Really edgy.
Spraying these darts all over the place.
18.
Third time lucky. No, he's attacked it this time.
Double 4's been good.
10. Arron, you require 10. Game shown the first.
Key on those
Arron Monk.
doubles that don't break down. You've got to attack them, Glenn, haven't you?
Absolutely. That was a bit like down the dog and duck. That was one of my legs, that one.
Well,
So speaking
of
Colin
you,
to throw
I've got to
first.
ask the question. What, and you've probably been asked it.
Game on.
On the rare occasions I've not been watching, what is the plans for 2023 for Glenn Durrant?
Well, the plans right now is that I'm back enjoying myself with various things. I'm still
58.
practicing hard. I found out what's wrong with me throw technically. The worst is over. I'm playing so much better. I've got some matches next week, and everything's the focus on the Ali Pali
91.
qualifiers. Not necessarily the Pro Tour, where there's opportunities there, but if I'm going to keep my card and I'm going to be back successful being a dart player again, it's got to happen now. And the only
51.
problem with the Pro Tours is that if you are not on your game, you will be swallowed up. And I've gone from that player that nobody wanted in the first round to being that player where
100.
everybody wants in the first round. And it's just this, even after winning the Premier League, and you know, even if I just walk down the mountain a little bit, it's just the decline. That's been the toughest bit. But whatever happens,
180.
I'm a happy man, I promise you.
Good. And of course, you have far more options available to if it wasn't a rebuilding process to, you know, listen, you're a sportsman, you're a winner and a proven winner, and it's hard to say to someone, well, would you be happy with this? But you seem like you're mentally in a good place now. Not accepted anything,
140.
but you know, if you did Q school and it didn't go your way, the options for you in 2023 are actually massive.
Yeah, I'm not looking ahead too far. I still believe, and
86.
many players who
Arron
have technical issues believe they're going to wake up the next day and everything's fine.
If it goes off that quick, surely it can just come back that quick, you think?
That's the hope, rather than the expectation. So, no plans right now. Just become a granddad. That's more important than any
44.
dart match right
Yes,
now.
congratulations for that.
126.
Everything's good.
Good.
Parity on the 126s here. The 19s have been amazing this week, Chris. They've been absolutely fantastic. We said yesterday there was a magnet in there. Treble 16 or treble 20?
43.
Ooh, messy.
Arron, you require
messy.
126.
Scruffy game, this one.
You almost feel with someone like Colin, there has to be something on it to get the best out of him.
Is
Double
this
6.
the moment? Sure he knew what he wanted there.
Well, I used to get a little...
No score.
I didn't want that. Well, it's easy to get bogged down on that. I
Colin,
used
you
to have a problem
require
with
83.
the one on the 18s on, you know, the 122, and
Me too.
it leaves double 7, and then you
Double 9. He's had some darts. He's had some
74.
attempts at that double in this match.
well, he's had
Arron,
that
you
was his
require
8th.
126.
He's none from 9 on the doubles. He had 1 at double 4 after splitting the double 9 in leg 1. He's had 8 at double 9, and he can't finish now. Ton left.
Strange match.
46. Colin, you
Back down the
require
dog and duck
9.
again.
Well, me and you would fancy winning this one, pal.
I wouldn't go. I might get a couple of
Game
legs
shown
in
the
this one. But
second leg.
double 4's been
Colin
great for Colin.
Osborne.
And that's all that matters right now. He's experienced enough to know it's 1 each. Yeah, 2 bad legs. The game starts
So look
now.
at
It's now a
Arron
best
to
of
throw
5.
first.
Best of.
Game on.
Remember, the winner will face Scott Williams, and the loser,
57.
Danny Lauby. Will be Danny Lauby against the loser of this one. Will be our first semi-final. The winner will play Scott Williams in our second semi.
85.
They know the integrity of this game. They just want to get up there and
Absolutely.
win the match. Not a big 180 scorer.
140.
Nearly talked him into that. Yeah, the number crunching earlier today, it was some bizarre
100.
conclusions, and one of them was he just doesn't hit many maximums. And maybe that's the bulbous barrel he's using.
Yeah. And the angle of entry, it's not...
Yeah.
They look like they sit up, but as we just seen from that angle, they're not very inviting. Where a Jamie Kellin, that first starts, and you think, oh, give me a go at that.
That whole group, I think one of my favourite throws this week was...
Kurt Parry.
100.
It's like a Rolls Royce, that.
Rolls Royce, yeah. It's just that sometimes his doubles were like a Ford Cortina.
Yeah, if he gets that element of his game right.
He's a beautiful player.
Yeah.
I liked his manner, just like his manner, again, similar to Sebastian. You couldn't tell if he was 3-0 up or 3-0 down. And I told him, going forward, that'll be good for you, but that throw's to die for.
Well, he will almost guaranteed longevity. It's how he can evolve his game and develop going forward.
Now it's that winning mentality. Grit your teeth, Kurt. That's what I wanted to say to him.
Yeah, I think he's I think he's got one of the best throws I've ever seen. It's up there with your Raymond van Barnevelds and Steve Beaton's, isn't it? Everything from the elbow, wrist doesn't break.
I think the pair of these could do with Kurt Parry's arm right now.
Looks like they got mine at the moment. A raise of the eyebrows from Colin Osborne.
100.
This has been sensational, this area this week, for every single player who's played in the MODUS Super Series, but you just feel in this match today, I've got no confidence in this 57. As shown in diagram B.
37. Colin, you require 92.
Old school would normally go over the bull, but now these days it's just so aggressive.
Well, I just don't think they feel like they're going to miss. And of course, back in the day, before, you know, it's like we didn't go 303 on 19s and 306. Wouldn't even cross our mind. But of course, the target areas were so much smaller. You had to go the ball because that was the percentage way.
Game show on the third leg.
Now the trebles and doubles are like buckets. They play a much more attacking game. I still can't hit them.
Probably gets Colin to throw first.
Different type of board I have down my local, but
one thing we do know today, if our TV screen goes off, we'll know if Arron Monk actually wins a leg.
97.
I remember some of them TV times behind in Milton Keynes. You know, the Gerwin Price, the Michael Van Gerwins. You could really sense the noise that they made.
Yeah.
You know, when the building was empty.
44.
Yeah, it was fascinating, and sadly for all the wrong reasons. I did feel for the players that won behind closed doors, especially when they were picking up their first titles, not to be able to share that with a packed crowd.
Yeah, it's something for me book, you know, to play. I played in 5 of the Premier Leagues.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Dublin, I did lose in Dublin, but Cardiff to beat Anderson and Exeter to beat Gerwin Price. Probably my favourite was Michael Smith in Aberdeen, and I felt a little bit cheated when you win it and you turn round. But like many people would say, would I have won it in front of 12,000 people at the O2?
Well,
you never know.
I would always say, why not? Glass half full.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't say anything in the record books. It's like people going about averages. I always say they don't write them on trophies. The numbers are only written on the cheque that you lodge in the bank.
I'll tell you what, the way this match is going, I'm going to predict that Aussie's going to bust.
Just making sure.
140.
Oh, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Class dart from a class man. This doesn't augur well for
you require 40.
Arron's next game, because surely this will have an effect.
Well, yeah. It'd be hard to quickly shake off a performance like this from both, but that can all be put in the back of the mind. If one or two of them can just find another gear. because you don't want to be going into that semi-final on the back of a stinker, because it can sit with you. It will. Well, you'll check yourself, won't you?
But the beauty and the reason why we love this game is you can be averaging 68.51 like Arron is doing right now, and then come out in the next match and you're averaging over 110. That's why we scratch our heads. That's why we sit here and commentate. And that's why consistency is key.
I did it Tuesday, 12 legs in, averaging over 100. Go back Thursday, lucky if I could average 70.
Seems a long time, averaging over 100.
96.
This is much better from Monk. I asked him yesterday, I was hoping to see his dad. I was hoping to see if he'd pop up and
93.
come and support him.
He's not changed a bit. Not a bit. We've had some fun at the seniors events. I hope you get a card, but it would be lovely to have you on the tour there next year. You would have an absolute scream.
It is. It's on the yeah. Great to have some time together with absolute legends of the game.
It is like
an
old school reunion.
Yeah, I read it, I see it, I speak to people, and I'm sure it's everything the organisers hoped it was going to be. It's just a shame about the MC. If they're going to improve that, it could go all the way.
31.
Where legends are made.
It's tungsten time. Get out my pub.
81.
Behind the bar with Paul Starr. Those are the days. Now I can't get him in front of it to buy a round.
45.
He only cries out of one eye.
105.
And Colin seems to have found another level.
What's the term for this match then, Chris? Stinker?
A smelly one.
Yeah.
That's how I tend to refer to them. They're either it's not complicated. They're doing one of two things.
Colin, you record 128.
Trying too hard or not trying hard enough.
My good feeling going into the match will be not trying hard enough. They're already thinking of the semi-finals, but
yeah, they've both done what they needed to do this evening, and trust me, there'll be a totally different performance from both.
But it just needs a spark.
Yeah.
Is the 87 the spark?
Well, the ball will give him a lift if he hits it.
46.
And again, he's been a bus ride away from that.
Colin, you require 36.
Wow, how many darts of double nine has he had today?
Can he hit one? Yeah, he knows.
I think he knows. I think he heard me there.
Well, by my reckoning, it's his 9th.
No score.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Although
Arron,
he probably would have gone for a 1 there rather than...
Yeah.
So that,
sure that 18s and 9s been good. I don't think many people's going to remember this game.
A small one. Double 10.
Game shot on the 5th leg. Arron Monk.
It's another long one. It's a 24-dart hold for Arron, but he leads 3-2.
See if it's Colin to throw first.
I think the longest game we had this week was 24 minutes, and it felt like it. We were struggling late last night.
41.
And this one's already in its 18th minute.
Well, and you know how tough this is your first week at the Super Series, commentating and doing the bits of punditry, and you know how exhausted you feel. You imagine playing this whole week for these players who may not have played anything like this course and distance, because of course you've got to be winning tournaments or getting to the latter stages. So fatigue is definitely an element on a Saturday night.
I never once thought fatigue when you look at Arron Monk fit.
Yeah.
46.
Muscles to die for. And he said, honestly, Glenn, I've had 2 days here, and he said, I'm struggling to lift my arm up. So he said, well, thank God I've got it until Saturday night.
The problem is muscles are not great in terms of lactic acid.
100.
I wouldn't know.
Use up a lot of energy fueling those obvious biceps.
60.
That would be a game. Arron Monk, Josh Payne, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they've got some guns. Be the gun show.
$100.
Sits them darts on top of the first two.
It's going all the way, surely.
Oh, we had one day, I think it was 9-4-3.
Yeah, I did feel for you.
85.
When it got to 6 or 7, I thought, well, I've done one of these. Welcome to the world of commentary.
I kept reminding myself this was my first day. Toa Henry was sat next to me. I think he was on his 16th or 17th day. I thought,
177.
to Colin Osborne. That's the wizard we know.
Yeah, that was a beauty.
80. Colin, you require 24.
Surely no messing about this time.
Well, you mentioned the stat with Arron Monk about throwing first when it goes all the way.
No score.
Ooh. Or can he
Arron,
pull
you
one
require 130.
out the bag?
I would say to Colin, and it's only Colin who'll probably know this right now, but after them three, I'll say, you're joking, aren't you?
Double 5.
125.
That was most
Colin, you
definitely
require
a quick
24.
one, Glenn.
He threw 3 good darts at this double 12. You can
Game
throw a
shot
rubbish
on the
dart when it
sixth
touches your finger
Colin
and thumb and it
Osborne.
goes in. But it's parity once again. It's 3-3, and it takes me to that stat. That Arron Monk
Seventh
has
and final
gone
against Arron.
3-3 4
Game
times.
on.
Throwing first with a 0-4 record. He's never won a last leg decider throwing first in these MODUS Super Series.
140.
It's not the perfect start, but it's not a bad second prize.
It hurts when you're walking up now and all you want to do is to hear the dulcet tones of Mr. Binks of 45. But this is the kind of week Colin's having. He's a battler. And he's shown real skill once again.
100.
He's still in this match.
There's no quit. If you are a social media user, Instagram, Twitter or
96.
Facebook, give us a follow at MSS Darts, all one word. Great to have you along. And welcome along to all of the viewers outside of the UK on our YouTube channel. If you're watching us for the first time on the Sporty Stuff
39.
channel, welcome along. And that's an opening for Colin. That is.
I couldn't take my eyes off him this week. He's been absolutely hilarious. 9:30 in the morning. He had the boombox on next door.
91.
I think we use the term maverick, character, charismatic.
All of the above.
100.
And
Colin,
after
you
a game
require
that's been so poor,
170.
Yeah, you know it's going to happen.
surely not.
Well, not the 170, but maybe the 126. Doesn't like it.
58. Arron, you require 126.
Don't bust it, Arron. Don't bust it.
Ooh. Got to stay there because a single would leave a straight ton. That leaves 62. Treble 10. Oh, he's gone for
75.
42 for double 10.
Colin, you require 112.
2 bites of the cherry at the treble 20.
I think the happiest people watching this will be Danny and Scott.
Well, yeah, they're
60.
leaving a lot of energy
Arron, you require
on the stage,
51.
aren't they? He would have had plenty of time to prepare.
For the match, and what's been an absolute grueler of a game, but for unbeaten, long away, double 10.
41.
And that just sums up the whole match.
Colin, you require
Well, I
52.
was writing the names into the columns for the semi-finals. Is it going to be Arron Monk facing Danny Lauby?
38. Arron, you require 10.
Double two's been hit so many times this week.
7-7.
Come on,
Colin,
boys, just go closest to the ball.
14.
The winner takes it.
Game shot and the match.
In a match.
Colin Osborne.
That won't be any headlines anywhere. It was a grueler. It was a stinker. 77.08 average for Colin. A measly 69 average there for Arron. He needs to regroup and regroup quickly. 20% checkout rate. 18.75 for Arron. Like I said, a game they both really want to forget. But it's unbeaten Osborne as we go to the semi-finals. Join us soon.
Welcome back to the Super Series, where the group stages have been completed. Our fabulous four for the semi-finals are now all locked in. I'm happy to say that reviewing all the group action is the three-time Lakeside champion, Glenn Dunn, with me up here on the balcony. Glenn, just first of all, your overall thoughts on what we've seen so far this evening?
You can feel the tension. The four players will be delighted that they're through. I think it's been the sublime to the ridiculous.
it was. So certainly in that last game, both players would just be happy to get off the stage, both knowing that they're through to the semi-finals. But we saw in Group 1 an ebbing and flowing group where Scott Williams and Danny Lauby both still had something riding on it in that last game, and it was the American who got his way through.
I'm a little disappointed for Lee. So we've talked about his story an awful lot this week and how devoid of confidence, etc., etc. So I'm a little bit disappointed for Lee. He's got a good crowd here with him. But Danny hasn't come 4,000 miles, he said, not to come and win at a tournament like this. And Scott is just quietly but effectively getting on with his job. And, yeah, two good lads going through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, Scott Williams joining Danny Lauby from Group 1 in the semi-finals. He really is one of the true characters of the game. And earlier on this evening, I caught up with him to discuss finals night and everything going on in its whirlwind 2022 for Shaggy.
Scott, finals night, big crowd in. You were made for evenings like this, weren't you?
No, but this is why I was born. I love a crowd. Euro Tour is really the only thing I've done properly with a crowd, but like tonight, no one's going to be on my side, and I'm okay with that. That's when that brings about the better darts in me.
How have you found your week so far here?
It's been weird. Honestly, it's really weird. Obviously, Thursday was really good. Losing to Colin, but it was still a good game. Consistently good, over 90, 93, 95 averages, 100, 102, 103 as well. Last night wasn't as good. I didn't feel as good. I had the chips and cheese halfway through the night. That sorted me out. Won the last two games, happy days. So they were here. So now it's on to tonight.
Obviously your second chance here. Was there a little bit of pressure knowing that this was your second opportunity in this event in this phase?
No. No, you just get to the point where you just play darts. Regardless of how many phases and chances and opportunities you get, you just go up and take it by the horns and hope for the best. And that's what we're doing.
You've been a prolific winner of events this year, but what would getting through to Champions Week here at the Super Series mean to you?
It would, I mean, I'm here to win, regardless of how I do it, as pretty or as ugly as it is. So I'd absolutely love to get Champions Week, because then that is potentially the last time I'm going to be here for 1, 2, 3 years maybe. So yeah, I want to experience this as much as I can, in as little time as I've got left. So the plan is obviously to win tonight. Take the money's obviously very important, but getting to Champions Week and having that last go at the big money is massive as well.
And those are thoughts of Scott Williams. We'll see him in semi-final number 2. But first up in our semi-final action is Danny Lauby against Arron Monk. Very quickly, Glenn, because the players are on the stage. What do you fancy in this one?
Arron Monk, how does he recover from that last game? That's the interesting one. Danny will just be Danny. Intriguing match. Based on what I've just saw there, you've got to think a Danny Lauby victory.
Well, Glenn's going to race his way down to the commentary box to join Chris Mason. But let's head onto the stage for our first semi-final here at the Super Series, where one man can go within one win of securing a place at Champions Week as Danny Lauby takes on Arron Monk. Let's join our referee, Owen Biggs.
Thank you very much, Henry. And as Arron over-practiced for this semi-final, he looked a little ragged in that final match against Colin Osborne. Some interesting insight of the mind there of Scott Williams. So, this is our first semi of the evening.
First leg, it's Danny to throw first.
Meeting between these two. I'm pretty sure they know plenty about each other.
81.
But it's hard to look past.
$54.
It's hard to look past Danny Lauby when we look at all the numbers
46
going into the match. Got a great lineup for you next week. We did mention Josh Payne And he's in action next week, and is Lucas Vennig, Mike Warburton, Mike Gillett, Thibaut Chacol, Scott Baker, Steve Haggerty, Niall Cullerton, the Irishman, Gavin Carlin, Dave Prince, a player I'm sure you know very well, Glenn, Davy Prouston, and Franz Roche.
Is it me, or is it getting more and more cosmopolitan?
Well, that was always the plan. And now the old restrictions have been lifted. Where has that come from?
Absolutely. I've just said it's going to go one or two ways, this one.
83.
Aaron's now currently averaging, I know it's in the first leg, 110. He will take the roof off if this goes in.
Well. Great recovery, Dart.
80.
From the sublime to the
151.
ridiculous. 151.
96. Aaron Iroquois 90.
He's got to play the percentages here with 90, so surely he's going to go up the treble 20. He's thinking of the bullseye.
Got to go treble 20.
He's got the nose. Should have went for the bull.
Well, when I was always in that situation, I always used to try and throw a safe dart at the treble 20. Just be straight. Get a dart at the bull.
Game
Treble's
shot
a bonus.
Danny Lauby.
Danny Lauby out of the blocks with a 16 dart hold.
You see out the blocks, I think he'd be a great 60-metre sprinter, this boy.
So it's Aaron to throw first.
He's blown his hands there, but it's very warm in the venue. It's
certainly not cold.
Yeah. He seems to have some good support with him.
137.
A likeable fella is Danny Lauby. Very unassuming.
100.
Musician, of course, isn't he? Yeah. Well, as his father was a musician, Dan Lauby Sr.
We'll have to think of a nickname for him.
From Indiana.
140.
What do you call the thing you hit the drum with? The snare, what do you call the stick? I want that for a nickname.
100.
Slick stick.
Slick stick, eh? There we go. We've come up with a nickname.
Didn't there used to be a stem that John Lowe used called a slick stick?
Yeah, I think they did.
Where the flight went into the stem on the side.
I tried them, but I threw like a dipstick.
60. Aaron Iroquois 124.
1-0 down. Big favourite for this leg. It will just be a holder throw, but after the last game he had and that first leg there, he
44.
put this one to bed, but not with darts like that. That gives Danny a chance. 2 trebles here would put a lot of pressure on. And with the first and second dart like that,
180. Aaron Iroquois 80.
Pressure from the dipstick. No, I've got that wrong, haven't I? 80. Treble 20.
Oh, went for tops.
Every time I try to predict the finish for this boy. Tops.
40.
I was just about to say.
Danny requires
pressure, of
61.
course, makes diamonds. 44. Bit of Motown. He's a musician. Bit of 4 tops.
Like it.
21.
That's unlucky, Brian. I like his composure there. Either the fact that he was trying to work out his score, but I think he'd be just a little bit better player. Tops for Monk.
Game show on the second leg.
Keep
Arron Monk
levels up with a holder throw of his own.
He needed that.
Yep. Just for his own sanity.
Taps his leg. He
it's Danny to throw first.
his fist up to his supporters, but he needed that.
These are big money matches. £5,000 for the winner tonight, and of course that qualifies them for Champions League, but they got the opportunity to earn 20 grand.
1.17 million up for grand now. This is the amateur side of the game.
Staggering.
Fantastic work by MODUS Super Series.
54.
And like you said, you've heard of the calibre of the players here next week. And I've got Chris Mason, week 12.
60.
The ratings will go through the roof. For that one.
Maybe on the opening day. Maybe the opening match.
60.
I'm going to try and play with a smile on my face for an hour.
Just pretend you're in the seniors qualifiers down in Reading.
60.
Yep.
had to put up with this production team all week. It's quite difficult, isn't it? Like having Chubby Brown in your ear.
60. 45.
Just a lull in this game when you least expected it. Boys, this is a semi-final. 5,000 an offer.
We're starting to reach a real pivotal moment in the match, aren't we? Real short race, these best of sevens. They feel a long race when you're not playing very well, but can soon get away from you. Needs another. That was minimum requirement from Monk.
But I see a lot more focus now. I think that hurt him that last game.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been pleased with that. He's had 10 minutes to
and I'm telling you,
compose.
I think he's struggling with because he's not practicing, he said. And that repetition of using your arm, you're using different muscles all the time, and I think he's struggling.
Well, there's nothing else you can do apart from play and prepare. You know, the saying goes, fail to prepare, prepare to fail, and you've got to get the hours
144.
In. The highlight of my week this week was this finish. It was by Scott Williams. It was an absolute beaut with a guy sat there on a double. It was you talk game changer. It was game changer with a capital G.
Well, he took out a ton plus against Nathan, didn't he, in the deciding leg of their match on the opening night.
84.
That set the tone for Nathan. He will be back. Nathan Gervin, that is, of course.
59.
Once again, he's at 25.
Arron, you require 123.
Spoke so much about how many times you leave 25. Dimitri, Damon had to religiously practice on 25. First to 10.
43. Then he require 25.
Try it at home, guys, because you'll be left with it a lot more than you think. Double 12.
And he's changed his route.
30.
Yeah, we used to play a practice game first to 11:50 checkout.
Arron, you require
but the first
80.
start's got to be at the ball.
Oh, I like that.
And it just gets you prepared for that.
I talked about, well, we'll see this finish first. I don't know if that's for treble or the top's the first one. Right. Big dart.
40.
I think it was almost a safe tops, Glenn.
Then he required 12.
Someone squeeze them doubles.
This is horrible.
6.
Yeah, that's the danger. You're almost scared to attack.
Arron, you require 40.
An unlikely 2-1 lead. Tops for Arron.
Game show on the third leg.
It is Arron who
Arron
gets
Monk.
the first break of throw, and the break of throw he needed, Glenn, to ultimately win this match.
Probably it's Arron
Just
to throw
dragging
first.
each other down, don't they?
Yeah, that
Game
can
on.
happen. As a game or an opponent can pull you along, it can also bog you down.
This is where I think the strength of the concentration. They're the peoples who come through this.
Well, it's accepting the fact that, right, I'm not playing at my
60.
best.
Yeah.
How can I find a way to win?
And Danny's not been effective. I mean, Aaron's not a slow player, so I'm trying to work out why Danny's not at his best right now. You know, Aaron's just come off a real stinker there, so you can understand why he's not playing well. He could be, his confidence could be lacking.
Yep. Well, it will have been
57.
crushed. You wouldn't be human if you can bounce back after a performance like that with some trepidation.
I mean, I've followed Danny this year, and like I said, he's so capable of 100 average, but he's also got that 72.65 average, which he's got at the moment in him as well. That consistency is something that he needs to work on.
93. $100.
He did that.
We talked a lot about this week about the difference of a first treble going in, scoring 100 compared to when you get the last treble going in.
180.
It's the second max of the match.
Sounds like the crowd are on Aaron's side.
60. Arron, you require 97.
Was that the spark you needed? Treble 19. The double top. And a big 3-1 lead.
Game shot on the fourth
5
leg.
out of 6. Perfect
Arron
darts.
Monk.
At the end of that one, hit the 180, hit the 57, misses tops, hits tens.
Fifth
Next
leg,
leg
it's
of the
Danny to
match
throw
by
first.
some distance.
Game on.
And it gives Arron Monk a 3-1 lead. 1 away from a place in the final.
Is that the move? Is that the decisive moment that this game went into the hands of Arron Monk?
Well,
Now it's time to kick on.
Lauby, who I refer to as a
96.
first start merchant. There's a bit of guessy price there from Arron. If the first
140.
one doesn't find the target, these quicker players tend to struggle.
$96. $140.
He's not going to go down without a fight. That's the thing with Danny. He's so quick. He's too nice of a guy to be playing at games or anything, but
absolutely,
I guess he is walking in that exclusion zone, and that's what that carpet is there for.
Well, you tend to try and get out of the way quickly, and Arron making a bit of an example. He's nearly in the toilets.
Please give me Arron Monk versus Scott Williams. What a final that would be.
43.
Let's go and see if he goes in the ladies this time.
104.
The Ministry of Funny Walks going on there with Arron Monk.
56.
The full Monty for a monkey.
I wouldn't argue with him though. If he said I was in the exclusion zone, I'd say apologise.
137.
Beautiful.
Danny
set
required
up to need
48.
32, and it changes the look of the 48.
How's your bottle? How's your bottle,
Game
Danny
shot
Lauby?
on the fifth leg.
Absolutely
Danny
fine. That's a
Lauby.
superb darts. And he shows up his first bit of emotion as well. But he has to break Arron Monk.
Sixth leg,
The
it's Arron to
aspirations
throw
of getting
first.
through to Champions Week. It's still advantage Monk.
Yep, has the darts to seal the deal. Who will he play in the final?
134.
If he can get over the line here. Will it be Colin Osborne or will it be Scott Williams?
134.
This match has caught fire.
59.
Must have been a small match.
$28.
Glenn Durran says this match catches fire, followed by 59 and 28.
Followed by 1,000,000 gallons of water.
You can find me on social media at
100.
I like that punch. I like that fist. I think Arron Monk is someone he needs that adrenaline going through him. And
57.
that's why I thought that crowd coming with him tonight could have
Yep.
been the deciding factor.
Well, when we were discussing the lineup for tonight, we pretty much broke it down to 3 players.
82.
Williams, Osborne and Monk.
We didn't do bad.
Arron Monk, 126 points away from taking his place in the final, and
96.
1 step
Arron
closer to
126.
qualifying for Champions Week.
First bit of negative reaction there from Dan as he shakes his head. I think he knows the writing's on the wall. Sensibly,
86.
sensibly, Arron sets it up and he'll have 40.
Well, we've seen his attempts at ball tonight.
60. Arron, you require 40.
First semi-final. Arron Monk, after a stinker of a last game, wants tops for the match.
Game shot.
He sinks it with a second dart. It's Arron Monk who'll go to the final, where he'll play the winner of either Scott Williams or Colin Osborne, which will be coming up very soon. Scores Arron Monk with an 84.06 average. Crucially, the checkout, 44.44% with a 97 checkout. We'll be back very soon. Scott Williams versus Colin Osborne.
Arron Monk is one game away from qualifying for Champions Week as he is the first player to secure his place into the final here in week 9 here at the Live Lounge, courtesy of a victory against Danny Lauby by 4-2 with an average of 84.06, 44% on the doubles, a high out of 97. But perhaps the crucial point in that match was Monk winning the leg where Danny Lauby missed 7 darts at double, which would have put him in command of proceedings. So Monk progresses his way through to the final where he's got a shot at the £5,000 top prize and, of course, importantly, that place at Champions Week. We're going to find out now who joins him in the finale as Scott Williams takes on Colin Osborne. Let's hand back to our commentary team. It's Glenn Durrant and first, Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry, and both myself and Glenn I've been looking forward to this one. Arron Monk safely through to the final. One step closer to the £5,000 winner's prize tonight, and one step closer to taking his place in Champions Week, where they'll be battling it out for £41,000 in prize money and a £20,000 winner check. Got some interesting stats for these two.
I know I'm boring you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times they've played in the MODUS Online League Super Series, and it's 5-0 to Colin Osborne.
Just looking at his age there, he's only another 3 years away from, well, 2 and a bit years from going into the seniors.
Okay, first, like it's Colin to throw first.
It's just going to get tougher and tougher.
Game on!
And he will be fully aware, Glenn, that it is 5-0 over this course and distance.
Yeah, you do get them players where you think, I just can't get by them. Barney was, for me, a shocking record.
139.
That's better. Both Arron and Colin have started a lot better now. That game's a distant memory. Yeah. There's a bit of focus in the eyes of Scott Williams, I can see immediately. That's my first interpretation of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you'd fancy Colin to be able to handle the situation better than Arron after that match. He just seems
50.
Seems like the kind. Well, we know him. He's a very, very level-headed fella, isn't he? He doesn't let too much bother him.
Yeah.
95.
I'm wondering if Scott has the 101 finish against Colin, he goes bull 1 bull against. I didn't like that.
No. No. And I did I had a good chat with him this evening when we arrived, and said it was funny how other players were affected by some of the things he did. He said, I just had a little chuckle to myself.
Like that.
Which is typical Colin.
123.
Pinhead. He's gone for the ball to at least hit a 25 to leave 170. There's pressure now on Colin, who has the darts. God, he'd love to fill it.
140.
Tremendous on that treble 20 bed this week. I think that's one of the huge positives he'll take away. But my role as a pundit, I'm just trying to looking at someone totally different there in Scott Williams.
128.
I don't see the Joker all of a sudden.
No, he's switched on.
He's switched on. He wants this prize. And why wouldn't you? 5 grand. Not to be sniffed at.
63. Scott, you require 111.
Big moment already.
Game show on the first.
And this is reminiscent of the guy I seen on Thursday. He wanted 110 that day, and both myself and Henry said, this is going in. I just had that same sense, that same feeling there.
Game on.
1-0 Williams.
Well, he likes the big moments. He's a proven winner at pretty much every level.
140.
No look 180s now, is there?
No, it's a different man we're looking at there, Chris.
Winner, of course, of this year's Challenge Tour.
£3,750 ahead of the second place at the moment, he's telling me last night.
Yeah. I mean, there is one more group of them, but it's highly unlikely that...
This is beautiful.
180.
Absolutely stunning stuff from Scott Williams. What a start to the match. He's at 2 scores between a ton and 139, 140, 180. A checkout of 111.
134.
But Aussie's going nowhere. Teesside grit. Look at this.
Bit different up north, mate.
This is what a pleasure to be commentating on something. I've been waiting for this all week.
140, 180, 145, a possible 10 dart leg. Just wilting under the blast from Williams.
This is going in.
He's done
Double 9.
He's done a few. He's going to split. Has to split. Wow.
20.
Even everything about them 3 darts is something. He would have gone blindfolded on double 9 earlier on in the week.
Yep. He understands the importance.
He's turned a switch.
And he's done although he's done very well.
100. It's got to require 16.
Career high payday, winning the 5,000 this evening. In terms of a one-off win, a one match.
Well, we've waxed lyrical about
him.
him.
Shown the second leg.
Delivers back to back.
Scott Williams.
15 dart legs. Could have been so much better. Could have been a 10.
So it gets Colin to throw
for Williams.
Game on.
He's averaging 100.2, 2-0 up.
You've seen people come and go, Chris, over the years. What's your thoughts on him? I think personally he has got the X factor. He's got that brashness, that cockiness. He has presence. I think he enjoys the stage. There's something I just see right now that I really like.
We will know more about him as he goes through the levels, of course. Now, he's won on the Pro Tour. Again, that's not in front of a crowd. You know, he's won the Challenge Tour. He's literally going through every step.
100.
Next year, of course, all barring a absolute bonkers run of results, he's going to be having a tour card. He's going to be making his debut in the Worlds.
25.
And then we're going to see where he is actually really at, because that's where it matters. In a World Championships, playing regularly on TV, dealing with the disappointments, because
140.
well, you know more than I do that the level of playing week in, week out on that Pro Tour, on those Euro Tours, TV tournaments,
56.
It'll make you or break you.
That's, people say, what happened to your game, Glenn, and I think you've just hit the nail on the head, and I just don't think I had the fitness, the strength to be in Holland one day. This is fabulous start from Colin Osborne. We're talking so much about Scott Williams, who we're forgetting about the best player this week in Colin Osborne, and he's back in this. He wants tops. That was not a blind 180.
Colin, you require 40.
He's been
his second 180
dynamite. He's been dynamite on this tops. The pressure's on after that one. Honestly, and I think it's been in that exact ball 4 or 5 times this week. That's great fighting quality.
Yep.
We'll get Scott to throw
Crowd goes wild.
Don't forget, if you want to join us down here,
140.
See darts like this, it's free to enter. It's really cheap beer. You'll have a great night.
It is. It's a wonderful, wonderful venue, and I just think a full venue with this as well. It's the acoustics of the building.
Well, with the balcony, we can get over 200 in.
Yeah, the acoustics and everything is conducive to an incredible atmosphere. And remember, Mace is on week 12, everybody.
Yeah, come down on the Saturday. I'll have plenty of time for all my adoring fans. I don't think we'll get them all in.
41.
Is he a big lad, like?
We don't call him Tank for nout.
People think I'm boring.
133.
Another solid leg from Williams, and look out on the 132, because that's right up his street. I've seen him do it down in Southampton on a couple of occasions. The ball double 16.
132.
Champagne.
Wow.
Sensible. No, I'm watching a different man.
Yep.
I'm watching a Pro Tour champion.
Yep.
Someone who's shown respect to Colin Osborne. Someone who wants this 5,000, and someone who wants to be in Champions Week. Kudos to the guy.
And at the moment, it's looking like there'll be only one man
45.
in his way. And that's
Scott, you require
the man
32.
waiting for the winner of this one, Arron Monk. That's not a bad miss if he's going to miss. Ooh, wow.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
3
Scott Williams.
15 dart legs for Scott Williams, an average of 102.32, 12 points higher than Colin Osborne. He leads 3-1 in a real good spot.
Yeah, the big difference here is the 180s. 3 for Scott Williams.
Yep.
Aussie's waiting for his first one. He's been clinical on the 180s this week
93.
as Aussie. And like I said, he can go away from this week. Absolutely. Positives totally outweighing the negatives. I think he's been
100%.
absolutely superb.
57.
He very, very rarely disappoints, does Colin. Gives it everything.
One of the good guys.
$134.
Anyone impressed you going into Champions Week?
I really like the look of Graham Hall.
Yeah.
I think he's
98.
Graham Hall.
Oh, I don't know him as much. I do know that he's dominating an awful lot.
I knew him a lot when I was living in the West Midlands and was still actively playing. I'd run into him a lot in the local tournaments, and he was okay then. But the progress he's made in the last 5 or 6 years, and he's got a great group of people around him, a great partner. And the progress is evident, and he can really play at a high level. But Robert Owen can't be ignored. It's going to be interesting because, of course, a few of those players pre-qualified down in Southampton. So, like Colin tonight, they're coming into this venue blind.
Yeah, great point, Merce. Graham Usher, I like. Obviously, a Scarborough boy.
He's got some levels.
Yeah.
Another player who's in a 9-darter, of course, at the
Colin, you
old
require
venue.
92.
Played very well here as well a matter of weeks ago. He's a real streaky player, isn't he? He just goes on these mad bursts.
And he's playing a lot more local league and everything. Well set up here from Colin. He's playing local
52.
competitions up in Teesside and
tough school,
and I think that's helping his consistency. And he's going deep every competition he's playing in.
Yeah, very much like Graham Hall.
95. Colin, you require 40.
Tops for Aussie.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be an odds compiler that week.
Game shot on the fifth
again
leg.
on his
Colin
favourite
Osborne.
tops.
Tell you what, he'd be good at the Grand Prix this year, wouldn't he? He's belting that tops first start.
Sig leg, it's Scott to throw
Tournament still haunts
first.
me.
$60.
Yeah, bookies would have a tough time on the qualifiers and week 13. But
it's going to be so many unknown quantities. The ones that have qualified here are a huge advantage over the ones that qualified in the old venue.
I'm sure the bookies are just waiting to see if you qualify, though. So whether to make you odds on or not, if we can get even money, I'll be all over that.
I tell you what'll happen, right? If you have £50 on me,
83.
13 to 8, you lose £50.
97.
This match isn't over just
No.
yet.
A big visit here from Colin will change the look of this one.
And I like the way that's sitting.
Yeah, he's followed it.
There's
just a little bit more rhythm to that, and that's the first max, and the timing. Oh, here he comes.
Did we write off
81.
Colin a little bit too early?
Were we a bit premature? Because if he can find a break, he will have the darts in the decider. Oh,
55.
That's been the story this week.
just that one visit, isn't it?
Yeah, just especially when you've taken control of the leg. Just a steady ton, something. People have been drifting.
59.
Not in. It's got to come for cover.
59.
And doesn't find it. A rise some high off from Colin. He knows He is playing with fire. What a great dart that is to work around.
100.
That first one looked like
Colin, you require
complete, does use long
124.
points, so there is a bit of an advantage, isn't there?
Yeah, we've been talking about that quite a lot. And, you know, many 50 millimetre points they are.
Wow.
Didn't Justin pipe 70 mil once?
Yeah. 84. Scott, you require 104.
Longer than John Lowe's darts, I think.
I tell you, this needs to go. And that is not the start, but it's not the end of the world.
So
Double
good at
16 of the
this.
match.
88.
One match start.
And how ironic. Aussie
Colin, you
has not
require
missed tops
40.
this week.
And he's 2 out of 2 on tops in this match. Can he make it 3 out of 3?
Honestly, Mace, all week he's hit the same spot in tops, but this is what you practice for, these moments.
Game show the sixth
A
flag.
dart. All
Colin
the experience in
Osborne.
the world, the former PDC number 9 in the world. He used every bit of nous, every bit of knowledge.
7th and
That
final leg. It's Colin to throw
It's
first.
a beautiful final dart. 3-3.
Game on.
Well, he was just under the most extreme pressure there. One in hand. So, one match start.
And it is darts, crucially.
Yep. And when I seen that treble 20, he's done that so well the last few days.
45.
Scott Williams, where he's through a pool for a start, and the recovery dart followed by the double has been absolutely on point.
We've talked
57.
also this week that when it goes to 3 each, it feels like a championship board where the trebles just shrink.
They do.
And both have started shocking with the first 3.
The doubles end up the size of penny blacks.
But the T-side kicks in.
137.
Is that a decisive moment? What are you made of, Scott Williams?
100.
Another great last start. So key. But Colin has an opportunity to give himself some breathing space, just to take a bit of pressure off.
80.
After that first dart,
Well, it wasn't the nicest, was it, in terms of
the trajectory of it.
Yeah.
is-
96.
This is exciting. This is tense.
nervous headaches?
Just to make it worse, $5,000 to the winner tonight. Sorry, Colin, I think he heard me there, did he? A whisper, $5,000 to the winner.
We're at the snooker.
Oh, we had the snooker puns this week, so please don't get that production team back on that. I'll need a rest.
46.
How quickly
100.
the leg has spun.
William cannons in a ton. Colin Osborne on 193. He's thinking 6 darts to win this match.
Got to come for cover. No.
Just needs to go in off that
85.
second average. Doesn't
Got
do
your
it.
148.
Surely not.
Go
What a
shot
finish.
on the match.
Scott Williams, we've
Scott
waxed lyrical about the
Williams.
guy all week. And he just delivers. It was a 144 yesterday. This time a 148.
His full-
Sensational finish there, Mace.
Yeah, his 4 winning legs were all won in 15 darts, Glenn. That is as solid as it gets. A 95 average to close it out. Well, he's going to play Arron in the final. What's your thoughts?
That was my wish. So if people have been listening all week, all I've wished for all week has been a Williams versus Arron Monk, and for to have it in the final. Strap yourself in, guys. $5,000 to play for, and a chance for Champions Week. We'll see you very, very soon.
And so our final is set. Scott Williams will take on Arron Monk in our final here in week 9. Well, Glenn, that was some way to finish that match.
He's a classy player. He's got the X factor. The 144 last night, the 148 tonight. Colin Osborne must be sick as a chip right now because, you know, he played his part, but he's got something special. It's the dream final for me, the one I've been wanting all week. So, yeah, kudos to Scott Williams. That was amazing.
Well, let's have a look then at the statistics from that second semi-final, because Scott Williams, 95.14, that's kind of like his base level to a certain extent.
Yeah, he's been averaging around about 97, but I mean, he's got 110 average in him. He's got his B game is what he should be working on now, because we know his A game is just sensational. But that finishing, it just highlights to me the skills and the attributes you need to get to the very top.
36% there on the doubles. Is that something he's going to have to improve upon in the final against Arron?
No, it's 1 in 3 darts, and if you've got 3 darts in your hand, that'll be enough. I think 30%. I just think he needs to. I saw the eye of the tiger in him. I saw something different in him. There was no real blind 180s there. There was no bull 1 bull. I just saw someone who, as a pundit, if he gets through tonight, I think it makes him final for the champion of champions night.
Well, Glenn Dowen has said it here first. Our final's about to get underway shortly, but before we do that, let's look ahead to week 10 here at the MODUS Super Series. This is the list of players that will take part, and Group A will see David Prouston, Franz Roche, Gavin Carling. Well, any good group's got to have Carling in it, hasn't it? Lucas Vennick, Scott Baker and Thibaut Tricol. Who for you would you say would be the favourite? That Tricol perhaps would be the player that would stand out amongst that mix.
Yeah, I like Lucas Vennick. I think he's the German Gerwin Price is his nickname, so there'll be some muscle shown there. Scott Baker from 18 months ago was as good as anybody. For me, you know, Thibaut's the one that stands out for me in that first group there.
Then Group B, Mike Gillett, Mike Warburton and Niall Cullerton. Whoever drops into Group B are going to have some task there against some really good, stiff opposition.
It's just getting stronger and stronger. Mike Gillett's playing really, really well. I think he averaged somewhere this week, or county, I was reading about him. We talk about lovely throws. I don't think there's a better throw than Mike Warburton. He's an exceptional player. And Niall, that's a tough group.
And then in Group C, we're going to see Dave Prinz, Josh Payne and Steve Haggerty. Josh is on his second chance saloon in this particular competition, but when he's on it, we've seen some fantastic stuff from him over the years.
Yeah, could be some finals night with Arron Monk and Josh Payne. 2 lads with muscles like them two have got. David Prinz, solid as a rock. And Steve Haggerty's been playing on the Pro Tour an awful lot this year, and I've been sat with him, so... Yeah, that's a tough week. That's an exciting week. I wish I was staying.
I know. Why can you stay with us, Glenn? A couple more days, possibly.
Yeah. No, that's a great group.
Well, Matt Edgar, Chris Mason will join myself up here in the presenter's chair for that 9:30 AM on Monday on Sporty Stuff TV. But let's talk about the final, because the players are slowly but surely making their way up onto the jockey. Scott Williams will start off as favourite, but we've seen this resilience about Arron Monk this week.
Well, I was asked who was going to win it tonight, and I went with Arron Monk because I thought he had a full crowd coming with him. When I realised he was on his own, I said Scott Williams would win it. So either way, I feel like I've done my bit of the job. Arron Monk's going to be tough to beat. I thought he'd lost it when that game with Colin Osborne was rotten. It was terrible, you know, and I thought that's going to knock his confidence. He come back, he wins the next game. There was a spark. He's got gears. He's got gears that he's possibly the only one tonight who could maybe live with Scott Williams. It's going to be exciting. Who gets out the block the quickest? For me, just Scott Williams.
Does Arron have to calm down a little because he got a little bit pumped up earlier? Is that just the way he plays?
I'd like to see him pumped up to the max, and that's why I thought he had his crowd with him. He's just one of them players. Maybe controlled aggression. Maybe the boring does us coming out there. I just think he's better when that adrenaline is running through him. That I want this, you know. And he does. Both players want a big prize. Mm-hmm. You know, this is worth winning there, and both of these players, I can't wait to get downstairs to commentate on this.
Scott Williams was really relaxed in that semi-final. You didn't actually see it on camera, but he was flossing behind the hockey at one stage. He just absolutely just loves this environment, and with a crowd in as well, he just likes to play up to the masses. Yeah,
he does, but I also, when they went game on, I saw something that I hadn't seen since Thursday, and I think your alter ego can stay and be that bull 1 bull when the time's right. I just think he's here to win it.
Sticking with Scott?
Just.
Glenn Dart's going to race his way down to commentary to join Chris Mason for the final of week 9 here at the MODUS Super Series as Arron Monk takes on Scott Williams.
Thank you very much, Henry. And it is going to be a fascinating final. Arron, for me, will have to find another gear from somewhere. Only one meeting away from the Super Series, and that was in a Euro Tour qualifier in 2021 in a prelim game, and Arron was victorious on that occasion, 5-3 with a 93.38. Scott Williams 78.76. Well, I don't think we're going to get one of those from Scott Williams this evening. He looks like
Hey, first leg, it's Scott to
different
throw
animal
first.
right now. And it
Game
is
on.
Scott who has won the ball and gets the honour to kick this final off. How will he start? Well, with an edgy opening dart.
51.
I would make Scott the lively favourite for this tie on what we've seen thus
60.
far. Delighted to say Glenn has
59.
got the steps in this week, pal, haven't you?
Yeah, the wife's got me on a diet. I'll definitely be under 16 stone after this, that's for sure.
140.
How do you see this then, Mace? I've just given my my thoughts upstairs.
Well, the one meeting away from this was a Euro Tour qualifier last year.
140.
Was victorious 5-3 with a 93, and Scott only averaged 78. And I was suggesting I don't think we'll get anything like that from Scott in this one.
140.
Back to back 140s for Arron, and I said to win this, it's quite simply got to find another gear.
Maybe 2 or 3 gears, and what I said upstairs is if there was a player tonight that had the gears, you know, the guy, you know, if you look at his CV, he can play darts. If anyone's going to take on this wonderful talent.
47.
And has he timed his run to perfection?
Scott, you require
I thought it was dead and
111.
buried during that Colin Osborne game. You know, how do you bounce back after that? But with these best of 7s, you just need a spark.
Yep. Oh, you just need to
55.
put a streak together.
Arron, you require 114.
These are turning points. 114s changes everything. And what a start that is. He's been dreadful, but it's his favourite double.
94. Scott, you require 56.
He'll be sick over that because the way they've been hitting this 56 mark.
Game shot on the first leg.
Unbelievable. That's
Scott
one of the
Williams.
stories of this week.
Yeah.
I call it this and that. Clutch finishing. That's what I try to say to people. Pip, pop, bing, bang. And it's just been absolutely awesome this week. And
Well,
Second leg, it's Arron to throw
You've got to
first.
put the hours in and just replicate those shots over and over again, so they're almost done on autopilot. You at your very best around those kind of numbers, pop, pop. You knew you weren't coming back.
I knew I
140.
couldn't live with the Van Gerwens, the prices, the scoring, but I could hear the commentator saying, done it once 201, we know what this means. And then as soon as I had a sniff of a chance, and I used to pretend I was James Wade. And that's what I've seen this week with so many players. It's been very impressive.
58.
Yeah, James Wade, anything from 70 to 130 is deadly. This is a good response from Arron, because he
42.
cannot afford to let Williams run away with it.
Yeah, he looks a front runner, doesn't he, Scott?
Yep.
So he's doing everything right. I thought he there, but great darts once again.
Yeah, well, this is another area where the players complicate things.
Yeah.
There's nothing Scott Williams can do off 408 to leave a finish. So why hit the 719s to leave 170 when you're never going for it?
Absolutely. We're on the same hymn sheet.
Options.
Just keep it simple.
Yep.
Treble 17.
96.
We'll do nicely. 70 after 12.
A nice 100+ average. It's Scott leading, but he's averaging in the 70s.
140. Arron, you require 70.
little to no pressure on this. He's found the treble 10. Double 10.
50.
He'll be back.
He'd be back. But if it's glass half empty, he'd be thinking, don't take me to double 5.
Yeah. Not even got to enter the thoughts.
85.
Still
Arron
left
required
himself
20.
a bit to do, so I expect Arron to pin this one.
I expect him to miss double 10 and hit double 5 if my stats are right. He loves a double 5.
Game shown the second
line.
leg.
And that's when stats
Arron
don't lie.
Monk.
And he's the best on double 5 this week.
He's unbelievable. If you look at all his stats, his favourite double is double 5.
Scott to throw first.
I'm glad I spent that half an hour with me Palmo earlier and looking at these numbers.
Did you manage to find one down here?
Never.
140.
Religious if it was, I wouldn't touch it. But it's game on in this final. A juicy £5,000 to the winner. And
Well, this
chance.
is a £2.5 grand money racer, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I say I'm not sure that Scott would have. I'm not sure Scott would have played for. Well, of course, winning a Pro Tour.
Yeah,
94.
It'll be chicken feet to him in a couple of years the way he's playing.
Oh, especially the money on offer.
It's the brand of darts now.
Yep.
I went on to a national quiz show last week, and unfortunately I can't talk too much about it, but the presenter was going on about darts, fat belly versus even fatter belly, and I went on a real Jeff Stellan rant.
Good for you, mate.
But then the woman went, the producer went, I wish we were taping then. So I thought, this is great, I'm going to be in Matt Porter's books, good books here. Really happy with what I said. It was how disrespectful he was to dart players and where the game is right now. And I went blooming filming.
Yeah, it's a long way away from
36, Arron number 161.
not the 9 o'clock news sketch, which I thought was hilarious, but there you go.
That's what I told him.
Yeah, it did some damage.
100.
That stereotypical.
Scott, you require
Big
48.
moment. Big dart.
16.
Chance.
Arron requires
25,
61.
double 18.
He hasn't hit the bull all day, and he's not going for it this time. Ah, he did. Yeah.
Treble 7. Oh.
Ah.
26 left, I think. Unlucky for some.
Is it unlucky for Arron?
Yeah, unlucky for Williams.
$41.
Yeah, just lost his.
Scott, you require 32.
Yeah, just lost his way there.
It still has to be hit. And he's moved across the hockey many times this week, and somehow.
Game shot in the third leg. Scott Williams.
When it's your week.
Yep.
It is your week.
As Dennis Priestley always said, if your name's on bot, lad.
Fourth leg, it's Arron to throw first.
Was he a tight Yorkshireman?
Thanks for that one, does it?
Oh, I can tell you about Martin Atkins and.
Oh, yeah.
Long pockets, them boys.
59.
Short
Well,
arm.
put it this way, him and Phil, they used to always be there fairly early in the venues. Couple of cans of John Smith's.
What a start.
180.
And they'd play cribbage all day. They wouldn't spend money at the bar, that's for sure.
Cribbage.
I've seen Dennis at the match play this year. He has not changed a bit.
140.
Looks really well. Great to see him in such good spirits.
What a player.
Oh, my goodness. How would have he gone today with these boards?
Yeah. I wouldn't have gone bull versus one bull against Dennis Priestley. He wouldn't speed up for anyone, would he?
No.
But Taylor wasn't the quickest, was he?
No.
Well, people don't talk about how slow because he was that good. When you stand behind him, he's.
There was nothing worse than standing behind him. Oof.
119.
Perfection, but he will take that down to 117 to break throw.
Two
This
trebles
could be
minimum.
all over in the blink of an eye, Grant.
100.
Frustration because the first dart was perfect, but
Yep.
Mace has talked about the sort of the trajectory, the lie of his darts. It's not conducive to
Scott, you require 117.
No. He's gone to the other toilet this time. 17. Tops for a 3-1 lead.
97. Arron, you require 144.
Suggesting there, Glenn, he didn't quite get to the end of his throat.
The big change yesterday was a 144 by Scott Williams.
He's got to go
changed everything.
He's got to go treble 16 here.
I love that dart.
Oh, bull.
94.
So would I.
I would love to see that again.
What an effort. I'm
Scott,
thinking 48-36.
He's done it a couple of times. I've stopped predicting him.
Game shot on the 4th leg. Scott Williams.
A 13-dart break of throw. Let's have a look. No, it was out the... That was about the closest he's got
Scott to throw first. Game on.
It's going to be even tougher now for Arron. He's going to have to break.
Well, what's impressed me, Scott Williams was absolutely nowhere near this level early on. There was not a flicker out of him. Just completely stayed stoic and focused on the job.
32.
And look at the average now. He's put some, what was he around, 78?
Yeah.
He's put 15 points on it. So that tells you what kind of numbers he's been punching.
100.
And that tells me about his character as well. It tells me that when it comes to an Ali Pali, when it comes to a Grand Slam of darts, when it comes to these tournaments, he's got this serious side to him.
Yeah, and adversity is not going to make him drop his head.
Absolutely. He's got it. We've used the term X Factor. I've got so many superlatives here for him.
The skill level, the attitude, the arrogance you need.
Yeah. Balance is good. I've just said upstairs, if he qualifies tonight, for me, it makes him favourite for Champions Week.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree.
78. Scott, you record 156.
It's awkward.
Yeah, may go 17s here just to square things off.
42. Oops.
Maximum, minimum.
I'm amazed players have to look across to the electronic scoreboard to see what I always knew. When I'm stood here now, I'm looking at my score.
Yeah. I think sometimes dart players know just
42.
Double check maybe.
Collaboration, reset,
140.
Habit,
so many things. This would be a great way to finish a fabulous competition, tops.
94.
It would have been typical Williams, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's interesting after having such a long time away from the game and then coming back playing, how quick you lose that ability to count. And then you start to second guess.
Yeah, if we had more time, I'll tell you another story from that. But over to you, Mace.
Required 20.
So, to wrap it up in relatively quick time and good fashion. And he is so good at that. And it is Scott Williams who defeats Arron Monk in the final, 4 legs to 1. It was an impressive response from a poor start from Scott Williams.
Yes, I think he's been a standout player. He's had moments this week where it's more concentration and focus rather than anything else that sort of superseded that. I think the best player of the week, you know, big shout out to Lee Cox, big shout out to Colin Osborne. It's been a great night. Arron Monk went all the way to the final. So many positives for many players. But it's the guy with the X factor that goes through.
Yeah, 2 180s, 4 140s, 4 out of 11 on the doubles. But the damage was done, well, mid-game for me in leg 4, a 180, and on that 13 darter, leg 5 popped in his second max of the match. 11 scores for Arron Monk of a ton or more, which was, well, 2 more, but no 180s for Arron, and there was a few moments there he could have done with a couple of those really big 3 treble visits.
Absolute pleasure working with you today, Mace. I've learnt loads from you, and the best player went through tonight.
Yeah, I think he's ready on the stage, and he'll be having a few words with Henry.
Chris, thank you very much indeed. Here he is, the winner of week 9, Scott Williams. A very relieved man in the end.
Yeah, in the end.
There is literally no explanation at all for what happened tonight with any of us. No one knew what was happening. No one was at the best. I was lucky in the last game against Colin with that 1-4. I say lucky, it was the right timing. But there's players that got to where they did, and it's like you did the right things at the right time. That's all it was tonight.
Did it feel like an up and down game? Was there a point where you felt steady, or was it just inconsistent throughout?
Yeah, no, I felt that there was a point where I was throwing. I felt really good, and when I went 3-1 up against Colin, and the game previous to that as well, I felt good. I felt okay. Oh, hello. Oh, there we go. And
centre of attention now.
There all of a sudden, and I felt good. And then all of a sudden, I tightened up, and I was dropping below the treble. I ate 3 or 4 180s in the game against Colin. And then it took me 2 or 3 legs to get into it against Arron, and there's a potential of it finishing quicker than it probably should have done, but I didn't hit the doubles. He come back and he hit his doubles, and it was just, like I said, for everyone involved tonight, it was an up and down roller coaster of an evening.
You said to me earlier on this evening that you wanted to make the most of the opportunity, potential tour card next year, so you don't know how many more chances you've got here. So you said you wanted to get through to Champions Week. How pleased are you now you've managed to get there?
That's the part of the point we come. We're all here. We're here to take part, and obviously we're all here to be, a part of this whole thing that's going on. But the whole point of us to be here is to win. And I've been really, fortunate to be able to do so. I probably should. Didn't deserve to win at all. There's definitely players out of all 12 of us that probably deserve to win more than me. But the game of darts is right things at the right time, and that's what I've done recently, and that's what I've done tonight. And I'm here with the £5,000 at the end of it.
Would you say your week hinged on 2 really big checkouts?
Yeah, the 1-4-4 against Matty yesterday, and then that 1-4-8 against Colin, massive. Both on my favourite treble 18. I'm not a big fan of tops, but it finally helped me out today. But at the same time, I hit a lot of 180s usually, so they also get me out of a lot of trouble.
And very quickly, were you flossing on this stage?
Yes, I was. Yeah, badly. But I'm here to have a good time. We're all here to have a good time. And, I usually got a smile on my face whenever I play if I'm doing a silly dance or anything like that. Obviously, we've got some guys in here to watch, and if I can just lighten up their evening a little bit, even if the darts isn't fantastic, then I'll try and do that.
Well, Scott, thank you very much. Just stay there for now, because we're going to round off our coverage this evening. Thank you so much to Glenn and Chris in the commentary box. We're going to be back on Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. for the beginning of Group A in Week 10. I'm sure Scott will be watching for sure. That is for certain.
I won't. I'll be in Spain.
He's already got the holiday book. We'll see
I'm
you.
playing for England. I'm playing for England.
Of course, WDF.
WDF.
It was going all so well up until this point. Right, we'll see you Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. But the final word goes to our winner, Scott Williams.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Henry. Nice, mate.